A change in coach brought success for Sydney last year, but Paul Roux still has much to prove. Today, he meets another who's had his doubters as the Crows journey north to the Harbour City. Live from the SCG, it's Sydney and Adelaide. This is 9 Sunday Football.
Good afternoon and welcome to you from the SCG. A beautiful day for football, mid-20s expected, overcast conditions, and it is the Sydney Swans up against the Adelaide Crows. The Crows are out on the field. Good afternoon, Dwayne Russell.
Perfect day for football, as you said, Dermot. Both these teams coming off a loss last week, need to make it 2 wins from 3.
Well, the Crows will be nice and nasty after last week. They got beaten by the St Kilda Saints. And yesterday, well, the Saints showed they just weren't that good with a big shellacking at the hands of the Eagles. So the Adelaide Crows internally, they've been whispering that they are very angry about this game today and want to make amends. Well,
there is a late change to both lineups as well. McGregor out for the Crows and Shell is in. And Michael O'Loughlin is out for the Sydney Swans, named in the side this week, but a late withdrawal. He'll be replaced by Luke Ablett.
Well, one of the Adelaide Crows' prime movers is Simon Goodwin, and Anthony Mithen caught up with him just a few brief moments ago.
Well, Simon, thanks for joining us. You've just completed the warm-up. Give us a ground report as you see it.
Yeah, the ground's in really good condition. It's a little bit windy out here, but no, I'm sure the players will adapt pretty quickly.
Reasonably humid, isn't it? It's a bit sticky.
Yeah, it is a bit sticky. It was a bit sticky yesterday when we trained, so it's going to be hot conditions, so it's all the more important to get off to a good start.
And what's Gary Ayres' mood been particularly today? I've got a feeling he might have stuck it to you midfielders after you dominated the ruck duels but couldn't get the clearances last week.
Yeah, we've put a bit all week. We've had a pretty hard week on the track, but it's all about response, and you know, we get our chance today to respond to last week's performance.
And you've got a debutant in the side. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Trent, he's 6'4". He moves really well. He's really agile, and I'm sure he'll kick a few goals today.
Good on you. Thanks for joining us just before the bounce, Simon.
Thank you.
Brilliant player, Simon Goodwin there. Let's have a look at the Adelaide Crows there. Highlighted 3 players. Expect Rashudo to play a lot of football in the forward line. Stevens, Perry and Carey last week, 1 goal between them. The previous week they had 10. So Rashudo pushing forward as well. Expect a bigger return out of them on a smaller ground today, but they need to find the ball and get it in.
Yes, certainly. Most of the goals this year have been kicked by runners. 5 goals by Tyson Edwards and 4 goals by Andrew McLeod. And Mark Rashudo, who's been handed the captaincy and has been superb since getting it as a leader of this club.
He's put together, isn't he? He's a big kid. He's about 5'11" kid. He's no kid anymore. 34 goals last season. So for a midfielder, he finds the big sticks. He'll push forward, no doubt about that. And look, they just need a good return out of those midfield 3 or 4 that they have in there at any one time. The big name we always talk about as well, Andy McLeod. Expect some big things out of him. He finished off in the last quarter last week brilliantly, 27 disposals, 10 times he took it inside 50, but against Robert Harvey, the one he crumbed off the pack and slotted through to give the Crows a chance, he's just superb.
Yes, anyone joining us for the first time, 2-time Norm Smith medal and also a Michael Tuck medal earlier this year. Watch Andrew McLeod, he is the best.
Well, Sydney won their first game with 22 goals on the board. Last week, only 8. And once again, in their forward line, their key forwards, Ball and Hall, you'd expect you'd want a minimum return of, say, 5-6 goals out of your key forwards. But it's the other 3 highlighted. Williams, the ex-Collingwood champ, Nix and Davis. Davis can seriously find the big sticks. You need 9 or 10 out of them, and therefore you're going to get 15 or so, and that is a launching pad to win a game of footy with.
Yes, Barry Hall is a key. 7 goals this year so far, Barry Hall, and he will lead them up forward. He's been doing a little bit of anger management term. He's did an interview during the week wearing the suit and tie and sipped a nice skinny latte. Tough men don't drink skinny lattes,
well, I'm not going to tell him he's not tough anymore if he's not drinking it. He is one mean hombre. But they've got to suit themselves up for this one. It's so easy at the start of the year. You can say, you know, we're 1-3, 1-4, but we'll catch it up in the heat of the season. You get behind the 8 ball, and it's a long road back there. There's Barry Hall, 15 marks, 7 goals after rounds 1 and 2. So he's at 7.5, 8 marks a week. You want to take 2 to 3 marks a quarter as a full forward if you're going to look at kicking a ton. He's a big man, big presence, and the Swans need him moving forward them. The one they really look to, though, is Adam Goods. Under Paul Roos, he played a little bit in the ruck before with Rodney Eade, a pinch hit ruckman, but Paul Roos has actually put it on him and said, you go, you're a bit undersized, but you go as the number one.
Well, he's got the experience now. He hasn't been named an All-Australian, but he has played football for Australia against Ireland, so has the experience, and he is a gun if he gets it going.
Well, it's going to be fantastic after the break. We'll get to see Goods in action. We'll get to see the wonderful McLeod in action. We'll find the toss of the coin to see which direction they go, and that is coming up after the break on Sunday. Welcome back to the SCG, and we are going to generate some heat today between the Swans and the Adelaide Crows. Gary Ayres up in his coach's position already, and saw him before the game, Dwayne, and he is a little bit heated about today. He's looking forward to, as long as it's physical.
Well, you should know him well, Dermot. You can read him like a book because he was passing it to you in those premiership years for a long time, but hasn't he really been able to regroup this Adelaide Crows lineup, and to win that pre-season flag has got them off on the right foot.
Let's say good afternoon to Anthony Mithen, who's going to watch the coin toss here for us.
Yes, Derm. Rashudo won the toss, and he will kick to the hill stand of the ground, or right of screen, which will give the Adelaide Crows a decided advantage. There's a fair bit of breeze out here today, and it's blowing straight down that end of the ground. I'd put it at 2, 3, maybe even 4 goals advantage. So look out for that as the day wears on. Conditions, it's a bit steamy, a bit sticky underfoot. We had a bit of rain overnight, but certainly plenty of heat around. It's quite sticky and humid. And a couple of interesting onlookers today. Leighton Hewitt has made the trek over from Adelaide, the Adelaide #1 ticket holder. We'll try and pick up a shot of him at some stage up in the super boxes. And on those late withdrawals, McGregor strained a shoulder late in the week at training, and O'Loughlin just didn't want to risk him with that hamstring.
Thanks there, Mitho, and get the sunscreen on, mate.
Thanks, mate.
When it pokes through the clouds, she's pretty warm up here. Good afternoon to James Brayshaw.
Yes, Dermot, interesting that Leighton Hewitt sitting up in one of the super boxes. I suppose the world's #1 player doesn't sit in the bleachers.
No, no.
He'll be behind the glass somewhere, you would imagine, but it is a beautiful day for football in Adelaide, and that man's got a big game ahead of him, as have those two. 1-1. Neither coach wanting to drop one here.
Absolutely not. Well, I've got my way. Brett Biglands goes into the centre. I love watching this big cat run at him. He is one big unit for the Adelaide Crows.
Going against their normal rotation, Dermot.
Yeah,
normally
it is.
Clark starts, doesn't he, for the first 15 minutes, and then Biglands almost as if by clockwork gets onto the ground, but he's going to start, which is interesting.
I reckon he should be a double or a stunt double in a movie, a Second World War movie where there's a great big German who everybody fears. He's just got that aura and presence about him. I'll tell you what, they say rucking's an easy caper after the centre bounce, but you've got to run up against a dude like that. It's hard work.
All right, we're ready to get underway. Big match, round 3 at the SCG. Bounce of the ball. Biglands, as Dermot Brereton mentioned, will get first hand on it. Straight down to ball. Crashes through to half forward. And Ben Hart may be pinged here for holding. He has been. Nick Davis has got it. Steps around a couple. And then inside the 50, Barry Hall in some space. Bassett, his direct opponent, gets around, does it beautifully. Back to Davis. The kick was astray. And Nigel Smart will break it up.
Goes wide to the wing. Bouncing ball. Might be taken out by Williams. He had the option of maybe taking possession and then taking Stingline on, but the boundary line was the sanctuary. And he'll get a breath, and it'll be a ball in.
Gee, Bassett was turned inside out there by Barry Hall.
Goods over the top, third man up for the Swans. McPherson. McLeod over McPherson, and the umpire will sort it out with a bounce. Andrew McLeod coming off another magnificent pre-season and has got his season going early. Ball. Knocked it down, but it was stolen in the end and kicked around the body by Red Biglands toward the wing. Punch comes from Stevens. Ball to the back of the pack. First man might be Williams. He gets a little Shepherd. Caught by Stingline. Brilliant tackle. No prior opportunity according to the umpire. Comes out to Stevens. Goodwin. Rolling inside 50. Tawney. Didn't have it. Perry. Had it but lost it. Matthews through traffic. Dangerous. Big pack around this ball. The umpire will have to sort it out, holding the ball. Jude Bolton, bottom of the pack, penalised. Free kick Adelaide.
Certainly had it for a fair bit of time. You can see there's no one near him, so definitely some prior opportunity for Jude Bolton. This will test the breeze.
Well,
Tyson Edwards kicked 5 straight.
Yeah, Mitho said it's somewhere between a 2 and 4 goal breeze running to the right-hand side of your camera as you're looking at home.
Talented and important player for the Adelaide Crows, Tyson Edwards. Drop putt on the way. He's certainly got the carry. No question of accuracy, and it's there. So the Crows are on the board with 1 straight. Good start.
Well, he's not an overly long kick of the ball, and he's kicked from fractionally outside 50, and it's carried the fence. So Mitho's right onto it there. That's got to be a little bit an assistance of about 2 or 3 metres at least. So that's going to play a big part in this game. He's done well there, Tyson Edwards. He put the knee in as well, reduced the opportunity for Jude Bolton to release the ball. Well done. Good tackle. Good, clever football.
Wayne Russell mentioning in the preview, they've had a tough week on the track, the Crows. Lots of competitive work as well. Gary Ayres and his brains trust at Westlake stung by last week's result, and they've worked them very hard. Back in the centre. Ball jumps high. The player really getting a hand on it. Biglan's with the clearance. Tumbling ball inside the 50. Here's the youngster Henschel having a crack at it. Perry's there as well. May have just stepped over the line. I think he has. Let's go to Anthony Mithen on the boundary.
Yeah, thanks, James. The crowd continuing to build, flooding in the gates here. Taking a little while to get them in. There is a tunnel closure in the city, which is causing all sorts of problems out in the traffic.
Ball back into play. Ball from behind. Bigland knocked down towards Smart. Prosciutto. Danger area. Caught. Tried to ride the tackle. Umpire saw it. He took him on. Bosdyke with the free kick. Father played in the SANFL for Norwood. Switched to the outer side to Kennelly. Father played most of his football in Ireland. Held up a bit. No options for the Swans. It's around Shell on the mark. Eventually goes wide. Crouch takes the mark on the outer side wing. A stagnant Sydney Swans at the moment. Normally they play this ground with more fluency. Crouch still held up. Now goes with a long kick. Barry Hall's in the pocket. Can't get a hand to it. Back of the pack. Prosciutto collects it just inside the line. Takes them on. Half to Prosciutto. The 1-2 from the old boys, and they might find the boundary line with a clever kick that won't be called deliberate, but that was the only option available because Riley was never going to get there in time. Mark Prosciutto on screen, one of the great leaders of the AFL.
You notice how that ball into the wind actually went over Barry Hall's head. That is a real sheltered pocket there, so the ball will get true carry on that pocket away from us.
Forward line pressure good from the Swans. Bouncing ball inside the 50. John Cock reads it best. Has a bounce. Backs himself. Good handball too. The forward handball to Ben Hart. Short he goes. Perry will have that broken up. Well done, Shawble. And then hits it on the ground. Will draw a free kick. Good football from a good footballer. Gets the handball on. Bolton now to drive the Swans forward. Kennelly, a little break on Bassett, but the boundary line was there as well. And the boundary throwing.
Yeah, this is the pocket that really shelters there. There's the Swans bench.
Schneider there having a run around, hasn't had a run yet, and Luke Ablett, for those unaware, number 20, is the late inclusion for O'Loughlin, who withdrew. Ball back in play. Crouch steals, handball, Maxfield, left foot, can't screw it enough, and it's only a behind to the Swans. Tried to bend it around the body. Former Tiger. He's the most experienced Swan out there. 241 games, Stuart Maxfield.
Bumping long kick, great mark, Goods. Having a terrific season. And that's a wonderful overhead mark. The kick not as good. On the ground, Davis worked off it. Lots of Swans around the ball. It's the Crows there for that matter. Still in dispute. Ben Hart thumps it out of the area. Here's McLeod. Beautiful use of the ball as always. Sideways to Edwards. Inside the 50, now the Crows go. This is Henschel to have a fly at it. Came from a long way back. Laddam's on the ground. Will keep it in. Got about 4 to beat. Goes back by hand to Tyson Edwards. Goods did well to get back on the ball. We'll have a bounce, no free kick.
Bit of a half too high, half in the back there, and two halves make one.
4-1, the free kick count at the moment. Ben Matthews gleefully accept that one. We'll go back to Craig Bolton in the back pocket.
Got a ring-a-ring-a-rosy going here. Stenglein is tagging Paul Williams. Williams trying to break it by going to Tyson Edwards, and Leo Barry's meant to be picking up Tyson Edwards.
Maxfield drives it long. Ball in some space, takes the mark out in front of Biglands. Goes down the line. Back away from Nix and take a free kick. Crowd 150. I don't think we're going to get it.
See why the free kick was played. And Matthew Nix from West Adelaide. Old blood and tar kicks toward Hall, who loves a bit of blood and punches this one toward the boundary line. And we'll get a ball in just outside attacking 50 for the Swans. One goal so far, that to Tyson Edwards. Most contested marks in the AFL after 2 rounds. The Swans ball back into play. Taken out of the air by Bolton of the Jude variety, and
That's the rule.
the umpire says he had the prior opportunity when he elected to take it out of the ruck contest, so it's holding the ball.
Good rule, that one.
Mark Bickley from a half-back spears the ball to Biglands. He can run. Has some room. Nix comes at him. Biglands with a wobbly kick towards half-forward. That's a beautiful mark by Laddams. Got down low and collected it millimetres from the turf like James Brayshaw in slips.
I didn't know he wore them.
Yes.
Now, Laddams is a beautiful kick. Whether there's any breeze assisting him or not, he would make this journey in the norm, but he's going to do it, well, you would assume he's going to do it quite easily now. 22 years of age, 31st game.
The angle that confronts Chris Laddams. Nice and close to the man on the mark. He hasn't timed that well at all. Carries the lot, through for a behind. So, I'd be best pleased with that effort. Chris Laddams generally delivers the footy better than that, but the Crows doing the attacking, and you sense they're going to need to. Strong breeze. Anthony Mithen's already told us about it. Almost blowing straight down the ground.
Taking a bit of Mitho's hair with it.
Williams pinpoints it well. Finds Craig Bolton at half-back. Bolton kicks it to a 2-on-1 situation. Stevens gets in front of Saddington, takes the mark, handball off. Here's the skipper, Rashudo. Long ball inside the 50. Laddams to fly from behind. Matthews almost takes a very clever mark on the ground. Henshaw gets involved. Free kick. And it's going to go against Matthews.
Once again, it looked like 2 or 3 actions were half free kicks. That one's there, but he made sure the umpire saw it.
You said that last week, Dermot. As soon as they see the jumper pulled from the body.
Yep. It's an out for the umpires.
So Laddams to kick from about 20 metres out. Big breeze blowing the Crows' way, and they've got to.
Tonight's the night. It's monster trucks down under. You can just smell the testosterone. Look at the muscle. Look at the air they're getting. Hang on a minute. Hold it, Rodeo. What
the bigger, tougher, all-new V6 Rodeo.
What seems to be the problem?
It's a monster truck.
I love this job.
Good start for the Adelaide Crows, but they don't get the takeaway here towards half-forward. John Cox, big leap, good mark at centre half-back. Rashudo had Riley on one wing, went the other, and then heard the call and went back to Riley. And then the boy who played just one game in his debut season last year, but has started this season in sensational fashion, has it in the back pocket.
Not sure what to do with it either. Now he's going to go long. Decides against that quite wisely in the end and goes to Biglands, who's been standing there for about 5 minutes.
4th possession coming up for Rhett Biglands.
Thumping drop punt to the wing. Goodwin comes hard at it. Look at Tyson Edwards at the feet. As always, climbed high. Not sure if that was there. We'll get the handball up. Bickley now working through half forward. Perry comes at him, going back with courage, Matthews. Perry tries to reel the ball in, then just goes off the ground. Matthews running back with it, takes possession, and then quite happily sees it across the line. Boundary throw-in. Ben Matthews, number 4, didn't want to relinquish it when Plugger came back. We saw Tony Lockett out on the ground earlier before the match, looking good too. Biglands brings it to the ground. This is Stevens picking it up, ducks around the body. Mark Stevens, that's a terrific goal.
Kicks a lot of snap goals, doesn't he, for a key forward. Big fella, 193 centimetres in height, around the 6'3.5", 6'4" mark. You don't naturally see those types of sized fellows kicking goals around the corner like that, but he does kick a few. Good dexterity.
He's probably the most competitive forward on that forward line most weeks of the year. Others come in and out. He's very reliable.
Yeah, he plays his game like a workhorse, but he's better value than just a pure workhorse.
So kicking with a breeze worth about 4 goals. The Crows have 3, and we're halfway through the term, and Tawney gets the takeaway. That is a big, long launch to the forward pocket. Not quite, Perry. Into the gutter. And we'll get a ball in forward pocket. That was a 65-metre kick.
Yeah, drop punt on the run. You'd almost assume that as soon as you see the ball go to boot and you're to that end of the field, you'd almost be back yourself in to go for back position.
Boundary throw-in. Dangerous times these for the Swans. Kirk gets to the front, picked up beautifully. Goodwin around the body. That's bending back, not enough. And a behind. Crows extend their lead to 19 points.
Be a very interesting kick in here for Williams. He won't want to go long because it'll die and actually start coming back at him.
Kicks to himself. Goes in short.
Couldn't see him going long up the middle then.
Well, it came right back at him.
Use of the Bolton option. He goes further afield. Saddington one out. Had a good start to this game, Rhett Biglands. Got a fist in there and broke that up. Boundary throw in on the outer side.
Ball will compete for the ruck contest as the Adelaide Crow bench. Bode getting up to do a few stretches, whether he's had the call or not. We'll find out from Anthony Mithen. Ball reaches over the top, knocks down Maxfield through traffic, can't quite get around McLeod. Now there's a free kick being paid. McLeod grabbed his leg. So free kick to the Swans between wing and half back.
Well, the Adelaide Crows are certainly playing the breeze. They've had 21 possessions already for their 3 goals. 19 of them have been kicks, only 2 handballs.
Maxfield towards Hall, just over the top of Hall's head. Hart had plenty of it, but not quite enough according to the umpire. Edwards, high kick to half, forward under it, ball. Good mark, he made it a pair. Maxfield. Now Davis has some space down the corridor, wants to go wide, back to ball. Not the quickest. Is he the most accurate? Nicks the target, edging him under the ball, John Cott. Crowd didn't like it. Ball out of play, forward pocket for the Sydney Swans.
Change coming in the ruck for the Adelaide Crows, Mitho.
Yes, Clark coming on, Biglands off.
Got a long way to go to get to this ruck exchange as well. I think he's going to get there. Shell and Goods. Goods almost clean possession. Ben Hart head over the ball. Tyson Edwards in big trouble. Slung to the deck. Play on. Nick Davis around the body. Barry Hall comes at it. Got a fist in there, Nathan Bassett. Still comes Barry. Around the body. High one. Lots of Adelaide Crows back there. In the end, it bounces off the body of Shell. Now they've got real problems. Tawney, perhaps happy to see it across the line. I think he was in the end. Daniel Shell having to stand under a real floating ball for a long time. In the end, coughed it up. Ben Hart sideways. Sideways kick that travelled 50 metres, found John Cock. Now this is Shell. A couple of nervous moments for him, his first game of the season, although this man can make anything look good. McLeod inside the 50, long ball. Henschel one out, just broken up. Shawble coming back onto the ball, and he'll concede.
How good was McLeod then? I mean, we just say it week in, week out, but 0 to 100, he is the item, isn't he?
He is no longer the Rolls Royce. I think a couple of weeks ago you called him the Lamborghini, Dermot. And that is more his style. So the kick in against the breeze here again. Maxfield entrusted with it. You can see the spread of the Adelaide Crows zone. They've pushed it right up because they know this kick can't go too long. Maxfield pumps it as long as he possibly can, and it is marked beautifully by Stingline. Hands off. High kick by Bode, who did come on and pumps it long, but it's offline, only a behind.
They would want a return of about 5+ here, the Adelaide Crows. And you could see them if they just pepper away. There's 7 shots on now for 3-4. Want to get somewhere around 40 points on the board.
Great shot there of the wall. The Adelaide Crows are building around their forward 50. The fist came from Riley. On the ground, this is Goodwin. Again, around the body, it's going to work for them, though. Tyson Edwards stuck under the ball.
Had a bit of it.
Took the mark comfortably. Riley now running for him. If he wants to go there, he does. Riley can run in and kick a goal. He's got no one ahead of him. Kick on the way, missed it. Should have done better.
Tyson Edwards, 6 possessions, and Riley there, and once again, inaccuracy. 3-5.
Riley was the Crows' first pick, 12th overall in the 2001 draft, and he's coming good, as we said.
Of every league team, the Adelaide Crows have the highest quota of homegrown players in the league.
With a short pass to the pocket from Maxfield, found Matthews, but now they're committed to a side. Sydney, they stick to it. High kick, Saddington up, ball thumped clear of him. Bolton's got it, balls to the sanctuary of the line, and will get a ball in. Andrew McLeod on screen, slowly warming into it. Jude Bolton really had nowhere to go, and he went low with that tackle, McLeod. Dug the shoulder in and made sure he couldn't err. Ball back into play. Tawney steals it. Handball out. Bode knocked on by Stingline. Barry had a touch on it. Fosdyke's caught a little high. Umpire says he'll bounce it just outside, attacking 50 for the Crows.
That's what the Swans have to do when there's danger afoot. This is a scoring area from here. A quick snap here could get the journey of 52 or 3 metres. They've just got to choke it. Got a lot of numbers around it.
Crowd finally getting involved. They've been very passive. Sydney Swans crowd hasn't had a lot to cheer about. Just the 2 behinds.
They were stuck in that tunnel, according to Anthony Mithen, for the last hour.
Finding their voice at last. Clark gets it to the ground. Maxfield couldn't handle it. Crouch over the ball. And we'll have our 3rd bounce in the same area. Strong breeze, if you're just joining us, blowing to the right of screen. And Adelaide enjoying that breeze in the first term. Up by 21 points. Dermot Brereton says it's about a 4-goal breeze, so they'll need a bit more on that. Nigel Smart did really well. Did very, very well. Around the body, Nigel Smart, if it carries, just bounces the wrong side of the post. Another behind. Kick 6 of them. 24-2.
Could be making some tough work for themselves down the track here.
Brett Bigland's having a sit down, starting in the ruck, and once again you can see that zone from the Adelaide Crows. Swans did play the huddle for the last kick in. Short ball to Shawball. Put him under a bit of pressure, but Maxfield found his chest and gets it back again. So the 1-2 works for Sydney. They get it towards the wing. Ball the target. Good mark. Good experience. Up against Clark, who's got some as well. Middle of the ground, Saddington. Maybe he can start something. Looks for the leads. Nix provides one in his direction. John Cock got a fist on ball to the back of the pack. McPherson. Fosdyke from the pocket. And he's driven it through. Brilliant goal.
Feeling lucky? Play in the Black Rhino Pokey Tournament for your chance to share in 40 grand. It's free and only until April 17 at Sky City, Adelaide.
Wonderful finish from Fosdyke. Swans have got there first. Get the sense that they're going to be rare at that end of the ground. Back in the centre, Clark almost has the ball land on his head. Person comes off the line. And we'll have a secondary bounce. Stevens in the middle now. Schneider as well. All the young guns for the Swans. Ablett coming in. Late inclusion. This is Bode with the ball. Gets the handball back to Tawney. Inside the 50 they come. Perry has to fly from behind. Hinchell on the ground. Laddam's there as well. Kept it in front of him, was clever. Now he's playing perhaps when he hasn't got it. Swans fans don't like it. Laddam's made the most of it.
Tend to think that the Swans are probably, as we stand now, 8-24 with this breeze. They're probably 1 goal behind a break-even situation, kicking into the breeze.
See there, he's going for the banana. He's timed it well. He's timed it beautifully. That is wonderful skill from Chris Laddams.
If you're frustrated with dial-up internet, switch to iPrimus Broadband and enjoy an always-on, frustration-free internet connection.
Or at least perfecting it. 4-6 plays 1-2. Ball in the ruck, dumps down. Who'll get the takeaway? 5 minutes remaining only in this first term, and Adelaide with this breeze of around 4 goals. 22 points at the present.
Big pack around the ball. A Gary Ayres coach team, you'll see that. And 6 forwards to the right-hand side of the screen. Ayres, he loves a big physical contest. He doesn't mind giving away a free kick or two as long as it's a physical one.
So ball to take the free. Hands off to Davis. To the open side for the Swans. Wide towards Goods, and he gets there. Takes the mark. Plays on. Hall one-on-one with Bassett. Hall over the top. Couldn't quite drag it in. Nix. Back to Hall. Tucked into the pocket. Screws it around, and nowhere near enough. Out of bounds on the full.
He's had a bit more work on that.
That tattoo?
That tattoo on the right shoulder.
Big, bad, bustling Barry.
It's just a little cross, I think, last year. Well, I'll have to ask him about that.
Another man who's not adverse to a little body paint is Mark Prosciutto.
A little.
He goes long with the aid of the breeze. Doing well, Bolton, that marking exchange. Bombs it in. McPherson and Johncock did well. Stood his ground. Bassett at the back. A little dribbly one sideways. Stevens a long way from centre half forward. Picks it up. His kick's a little fierce for McLeod. Bolton hard back on it. Clark came hard at him. Ball across the line.
Laid a couple of good tackles, Clark, since he's come on. Don't normally expect big men, the tall ruckman, to lay tackles because they're a little bit cumbersome in getting to the contest in terms of a tackle. Put a couple on already.
Going to take clean possession here if he wants. Instead of that, he palms it to Prosciutto. High ball, landing in the centre wicket area. Here's Stevens. It's more where you expect to find him. Well done. Very well done. High ball now around the body. This is Henschel, first gamer. Beaten by the leg break. Back on it. His direct opponent, and Bolton did it nicely.
Fosdyke from the back pocket for the Swans. Wide off the hand of Clark. Ball. Got boot on ball. Goods waits for it. Got a Shepherd from Crouch. Dished off a quick flying handball. McLeod with him. Got 2 to beat. Goods. Both tackled him. Hand to Davis. Swans are away. Kick around the body. Matchfield. Open goal from 45 on the left foot. Write it down.
This is a story that could save your life. What every family should know about SARS, Tara Brown from Hong Kong.
This is as close as you can get to the killer virus.
On the super flu bug that's sweeping the world.
Quite literally, we've got a war on our hands.
And how about this for an extreme sport? The dangers, the risks, the Aussies taking on the world.
Crazy group of people.
When Toyota presents 60 Minutes, 7:30 tonight.
Important 5 minutes for the home team. They've kicked a couple. Tough to do with a strong breeze. Got it back to 16 points. Good result. Neither ruckman can get a hand on it. Stengline claimed and claimed high. Paul Roos, a rueful shake of the head. In fact, it's Tawney.
Yeah, the free kicks in the middle of the ground. I mean, centre bounce takeaways are hard enough, but with this breeze...
Long kick forward. Big pack of players on the ground. Tyson Edwards picks it up. Now it's Bolton. He's claimed high. A valuable player back there. Craig Bolton.
Gee, they're laying some tackles, Adelaide. Some of them are a bit misdirected, going a bit high. Just fractionally like that one.
10-5 the tackles. Adelaide's way.
Short ball from Bolton. Leo Barry in some space. Starting to get some of that. Maxfield. McPherson it is. Further afield to Maxfield. If that makes any sense. Maxfield at half forward. Kick inside the 50. The numbers favour Adelaide. Bassett did well. Backed his judgment. Got it to Rashudo. The premiership link up with Nigel Smart.
Oh, good kick.
Long delivery from him. A very good kick. And Laddams kicked a couple. And this first term takes the mark on the wing. Left foot ball to half forward. Rashudo comes charging at it. Couldn't take the mark. The turnover could be costly. Maxfield coming into his own. Goods in all sorts of space. Takes the mark. Running clear. Got McPherson in short. We'll find him.
I think it's Nix. Yeah, Smart you saw come down the field a second ago, and he just didn't work back hard enough to pick up Goods. Goods, he's doing a bit of a swap with ball through the middle. Ball's had a bit of the footy. 7 possessions for him. It's great to be a running backman and go forward. And Nigel Smart is clever. Sometimes there's no replacement for working back the other way and just accepting you've got to pick up your man.
76% probability. He'll take those odds into the breeze, I reckon.
He's a beautiful kick normally.
Set shot on the way. He's just eased it out to the right.
I knew he would do that as soon as I said it. He is a beautiful kick at the goal, though.
Nathan Bassett to bring it in from fullback, straight down the middle with the breeze, late in this opening term. Tried almost down. Rashudo goes with a torpedo. 70-metre kick to full forward, and it's marked brilliantly. Has he been paid, Stevens? Yep. Yes.
Low
he had
torp.
enough of it. And a tough one to mark the low torp.
Tough one to execute, the running torp.
Yeah, it is. Probably the most difficult kick. Yeah, you call them the spears when they're coming at you. It's a good pair of hands.
So Mark Stevens to kick the goal from about 15 metres out, scoring in. Sunny day here at the SCG, and if this continues, that goal umpire will have sunburn on the roof of his mouth. The Swans and the Crows, it's fairly even at the moment, Dermot.
Yeah, I think they're probably one, maybe at the most 2 goals better in the true equation here. With well, you saw that. I mean, that's gone 75 on the run. I mean, as you called it, it is beautifully executed, but into the wind, it'll go 50 the other way, 50, maybe 50 to 55. It's got 75 with it.
I reckon watching that at home, Mark Stevens might just be feeling as if he was a little lucky to be paid, Dermot. I don't know if he ever had control of that, but it doesn't matter. Important goal for the Crows as the quarter winds down. Beautifully done by Clark. Stengline out of the centre. These are important minutes now for Adelaide. Stevens, was he held? Ball on the ground. Goodwin thumps it across the line.
Finding the ball down there, Craig Bolton. 5 possessions already. Walking to the top of the goal square there against his opponent, young Henschel.
21-point lead to the Crows. Can they add to that in the dying seconds? Bode around the body. Oh, yes, they can.
Well, if that was planned, it was brilliant. But watch the space open up. Watch the ruckman. Nobody behind them. And that's just easy space to run to once you accept the ball. I mean, we study it up here and we say protect the front, protect the back, but the most important area to protect is the back, that corridor area, because once you get in there you can turn either way. The ruck clearances all around the ground, Adelaide 15, Sydney 6, so that's one area the Sydney Swans would want to do better in. Quarter time, and it probably does favour the Adelaide Crows now, 6-6. 42 to the Swans 2-3-15. So they did all right for most of that quarter, the Swans. They pegged their way back into it in the mid part of that stanza there. And Krusty Bode pops through the last for the Adelaide Crows, the 6th in total. 42 play the Sydney Swans 15. There he is, Roosie, urging his team on at quarter time. Steve Malaxos, former All-Australian captain, standing in behind him. Gary Ayres with his side hold a 27-point lead at quarter time, urging his troops into battle even harder for the second quarter about to start. Let's have a look at the goal kickers. Stewie Maxfield and Nick Fosdyke, one apiece for the Sydney Swans into the wind. With it, the Adelaide Crows. Laddams a double along with Stevens, and singles to Bode and Edwards.
It's a special set of hand signals, isn't it, that's unique to AFL coaches. It's just like,
oh, they love it.
Footballer, you got to understand.
They love it, and at the end of the day, that's another one that's coming in too. Let's have a look how Adelaide have gone into their forward 50, 44%. Now, their centre-bounce clearances, they smashed Sydney in the midfield, and 44% of their entrances came in through that corridor there, and a little bit around the edges. There's the goals. They kick very close with the wind. See where the ball's dropping to. Free kicks or marks within about 25 metres there.
And that's because they're going straight down the middle with the breeze.
Putting pressure on the backman and pressure in front of the board there. Let's
Leighton Hewitt signing more autographs, and Shane Heal's here after the victory with the Sydney Kings, so
just hiding in behind that man's pot belly there. This time, let's go down to Anthony Mithen.
Yes, star-studded audience here at the SCG. Paul Roosie, certainly an air of resignation about his speech to the players. Just felt that they played dumb footy in that quarter, kicking into the breeze. And Gary Ayres feels he can win it this quarter if they can shut it down.
Biglands gets the start again against Ball. Stenglein has it held to him.
So as he believes this is the quarter that the game will be won in, he kills Sydney off this quarter. Even with the wind in the last quarter, they won't come back at them hard. That's a big pack of players.
Woods and Ball double teaming Biglands. Doesn't make any difference to the clearance.
Now, you've got to see this. Look at the people around that ball. To the left-hand side of screen, Adelaide's forwards, they have 6 opposed to their own men. To the right-hand side of screen, a solitary Barry Hall by himself. So there's 6-man forward line in one and 1-man forward line at the other end. And this is the end, it's going to the 1-man.
Barry Hall may see some action if Ball can move it on.
There's a fair chance.
In short he goes.
Well, he's only got one side he can lead to now. He'll come out this way.
Person will look for Barry Hall. Here he comes. One out against Bassett. Bassett did well, thumped it to the deck. Rashudo now charges in. Davis there as well. Be a bounce just outside the 50.
Now, it's just a little thing. It's made a pack. There's Barry Hall on the ISO camera. Player cam. Yeah, not a good kick. Too hard. Yeah, but Rashudo's tackle there. I mean, that's a captain's leading example. Little nudge on play there. Good's got the front spot.
It's 2 in the opening minute against Biglands. Similar style.
Yeah, left hand and then the right hand goes for the ball. He just loves body contact, and sometimes he can get drawn into that, and he's not happy with it.
So Goods from within range, perhaps. He loads up and goes high. Hall over the back of the pack. Just gave Bassett the nudge. Bassett's got him. Nix tucked into the pocket. Can he screw it around? He does, but not quite enough. Only a behind to Matthew Nix.
On the replay of that, Barry Hall doesn't need to touch him. Look there, and it still clears him. you could almost, early on, just take the chance this quarter as the forward and run to 2 or 3 metres behind where you think it's got to be lucky to go, because that's where it, in more all likeliness, is going to go.
Tawney goes in search of Biglan's, almost a clever mark to Goods. Maxfield picks it up. Around the body, Tawney's going to be involved in this again. Ben Hart there as well. In the end, he took it over. Since as he went over, he thought perhaps I shouldn't have. There's Adam Goods, very nearly reeling in. A wonderful mark. Biglan's to the front. Rashudo trying to burrow his way through.
He's having a game, Rashudo. He's laid tackles. He's got 8 possessions. Having said that, Stewie Maxfield's his direct opponent. He's got 8 as well. 9 now, Stewie Maxfield.
Adelaide skipper interrupted pre-season. The ankle problems he had last year dogged him again, but he seems to be fitting up and running now. This is Mark Bickley. Got it to Rashudo. Around the body, that may be touched off the boot, although I can't hear anything, so play on. Biglan's did well. Controlled it nicely. Long ball for Stevens. Tough ball for him to mark. Thumped away. On the ground. Rashudo, boundary line. Kirk, boundary throwing.
It was nice of Captain Kirk, wasn't it? Just stopped on the push on Rashudo.
Decided not to cling on, you're telling us, Dermot.
Decided not to put him through the fence.
Ball in dispute. No one can quite break free of the tackle laid by Tawney, and we'll get another ball up on the wing. Inside 17 minutes to travel. Jude Bolton slowly getting to his feet. One Swan selector told me, pound for pound, Jude Bolton is the strongest player in this team. Proved it then. Bounce, ball, knocks down Davis. Maxfield, corralled, well, got it back to Davis. Ball, Maxfield. Now they get it forward. Goods the target, caught under the ball, and Bassett. He left Hall, made it a 2-on-1, good commitment. Back to Stingline, wide for John Cock. Beautiful pass. Set him up to run. Perry. Mark on the wing.
Gee, that's good by Bassett, isn't it? Just taking the risk, read it well.
Good mark, Stevens. Too far out to score into this breeze. Now the Swans players flood back into the breeze. High kick to the top of the square. Chance for Henschel. Kirk read it best. Took them up.
He had to sit there, young Henschel, didn't he? But he watched the pack, a bit of inexperience, and he probably should just trust himself to jump at the ball, put 2 hands up.
Williams got it to Maxfield. He'll go in short, so they're using it sparingly.
Hall to centre half forward now.
Now here's Barry Hall in some space. The first time he's got away from Nathan Bassett.
And swap with Goods. Goods from the goal square.
Goes towards that player. Thumped away by Nigel Smart. He's got 3 to beat now. Goods. Did he leg Mark quickly? Not according to the umpire.
That is the thing here at the moment, which is going to hurt the Swans going to this end of the ground. They want to keep it open, and they've got Goods out of the goal square and Hall at centre forward, and they're saying, right, just the 2 blokes up there. Nix can float back with it. But Adelaide, no, it's going to be a long kicking game, so they're going to double team those boys every time it goes in.
Riley was involved. Ben Hart steps around beautifully. Got it to Tawney, who's been a big pickup for Adelaide from Richmond. High ball from that player. Players come from everywhere. To the deck. There's Riley involved again from Robin Vale. This is Kirk. Handball into the deck. And got it back. Left foot kicks good. Swans starting to get some movement into their footy. Davis. Long ball. Barry Hall, 1 out. Gets rid of Bassett. Bassett did well. Got a fist in there. Timely. Nigel Smart. Handball to Bickley. His short one. A little messy. McPherson picks it up. Underground handball to Goods. They're not clean at the moment, the Swans. Mark Bickley will pick it up and get the handball away. This is Riley. Has to step back through traffic. Tyson Edwards did really well. He'll get it back, Tyson Edwards. They've got it to the centre, the Crows.
Stingline, who gave it to him originally, kicks forward over the head of Henschel slightly. A good mark. Front of the pack. Taken by Shawble. Stood his ground. Leo Barry, who ruptured his spleen against Adelaide last year. Couple of bounces. Williams wasn't really aware that he was going to get it. High ball. Jude Bolton takes it.
Good talk, though. Leo Barry heard the late call, you're hot. Henschel closed on him, so he knew he just had to give it away to a teammate.
Ball in the middle, calling for it, and free. But Bolton has to hold up because Craig Bolton coming off with the blood rule.
There's a bit of claret there, too.
There it is down the side of the head of the ex-Brisbane Lion, Craig Bolton, who's originally from New South Wales ACT under-18s. So back home, technically, Saddington. Now Barry again, down the corridor with a bounce. Long drop punt, Hall's on the move, gets there, marks it.
Played behind. He played behind that time, and he allowed the ball to make its way to him. Watch him here. He's pointed the side it's going out. Hasn't really worked that hard for it, has he? Just read the ball. Then what he's done better there is read the ball flight through the air.
7 goals so far this year, Barry Hall. Tough angle, but they're not deep pockets here at the SCG, and that is a tough kick, though, from that pocket. And the wind pushed it further right, just scraped in for a behind.
There's a fair bit of left to right on that angle, though.
They won't be unhappy with any of this, the Crows. Chewing up a lot of clock time, and Swans aren't doing much scoring. Been hard to bring it back in.
They rarely go short, the Crows.
He doesn't on this occasion. Looks for Biglands. Little push in the back. Won't matter. John Cock picks it up. Got Tyson Stengline running for him if the kick can find him. Williams closing in on Stengline. Boundary line there as well. Wonderful player Paul Williams has been over the stretch. Collingwood and the Sydney Swans. Ball and Biglands. Bickley did really well. Got it to Riley. Impressive young player. Has a bounce. Delivers inside the 50. Henschel comes at it. Thumped away from him on the ground. Stevens will have to work hard. Good one there as well. A wall of players here for Adelaide. McLeod took the mark. Gets it to Nigel Smart. The player just coming off the bench. Schneider couldn't get to him. Laddams, 60 out. Left foot short one. You're going to get a free down the ground. Laddams upended by Schneider. And Ian Perry is going to end up with it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though, because Perry marked it in a true contest at the other end anyway.
Wasn't really a heap in it anyway, to be honest.
So, probably a needless whistle blow.
Schauble on the mark. Perry with the footy.
Yeah, Schauble did go at him, though. So, and he marked it, so no difference in the action.
Big Wizard Cup for Ian Perry. 3 goals in the first round. Had a big game last week, and he's missed that to the near side. Still, as I mentioned, the Crows won't be unhappy with any of this. It's a big breeze blowing to the end. Sydney are kicking towards, and they're not really making any inroads on the scoreboard.
Paul Williams is likely again, if he doesn't find anything, to just tap it on his boot. And look at... I thought somebody was sneaking around the pocket there. Tap it on his foot and try and clear the zone.
And he does. Takes off. We saw Adam Goods having a sit down. That leaves Ball as the main big man, and he almost marked that. He got the free. Free paid to Wharf in the end. Williams, who followed up his kick from full-back, is wide to Steele, and just out of play. Anthony Mithen is on that boundary line.
Yes, and Adelaide medical staff got their heart in their mouth every time that Mark Stevens hits the deck. He's got deep-seated bruising of the knee. He needed a fitness test on Friday to make it into the side today, and suffering from it every time he hits the deck.
Higlin's doing well. Got it to Laddams. Great work from Maxfield, who's also doing well. Kennelly over the ball, needs to be careful. Umpire adjudged that he wasn't able to get rid of it.
Started up forward in the first quarter, moved back to the customary wing position since.
Need some clean movement inside the 50 here, the Swans. Laddams stumps it away. Williams will be claimed from behind. This is Fosdyke, tried to take on McLeod, did brilliantly well, laid 2 tackles that were terrific. Stengline on the ground. Bickley comes in for the assist. Andrew McLeod, so much said about his explosive speed and use of the ball, but this is a part of his game that's rarely recognised. Terrific.
Oh, look, most league players don't lay 2 a week. And they are... Well, that's true. That is the true stat. And he's laid 2 rippers in 3 seconds.
Laddams, good evasive skills. High ball to half forward. Rashudo, fist in there. Over the line in front of...
You would be surprised at the statistics, the true statistics of how many tackles certain players lay, and some of our champions go a season and lay 3 or 4.
I'll get you to name them shortly, Dermot. Ball back into play. Ball knocks down and unable to break free is Ablett. It was actually Crouch. Ablett came on.
I'll get Dean Schutz, our statistician, to name them.
The ball about to be bounced.
Top 5 possession getters. Maxfield leads with 12. His opponent, Rashudo, on 9.
They'll get the takeaway. Williams had it for a second. Barry through traffic. Looped the handball to Kirk. Maxfield. Bickley's got him. Handball out stolen by Edwards. Crows might go to attack. Bickley. Rashudo. High kick towards full forward. Waiting under it. Ball punched away from Perry. McPherson. And they will get away with it. Spearing kick is good to ball. Got it from Ablett. He goes with a long driving kick towards Davis. One-on-one with Hart. Ball to the back of the pack. Maxfield. Ball is on his own. Maxfield couldn't get it away. And we'll get a ball up on attacking 50 for the Sydney Swans. We have had 13 goalless minutes in this second quarter. Swans kicking with a 3 or 4 goal breeze.
Nathan Bassett doing a good job on the dangerous Barry Hall in ruck now. Gets it to Maxfield. High ball. Really high ball. Barry Hall comes back hard on it. On the ground. Almost claimed high Matthews. No free kick. Scott Stevens over it. And we'll have a bounce. Stevens on screen. Picks himself up.
Goalless.
Having a little rest.
A goalless second quarter so far with 9 minutes remaining.
Rowell over the top. This is Williams on the ground. Maxfield just got his own football out there at the moment. He's going to be awarded a free kick.
Well, they've done well, Adelaide, into the breeze, restricting the Swans to just a couple of behinds. And Stewie Maxfield needs this one through. Play on quickly here, get closer.
Graham Johncock making sure he doesn't do that. Really should convert from here. It's an important kick.
It's one of those ones where you get in two minds because of the breeze behind you. It's a 35-40 metre kick, but the breeze will, you could touch it through like a 20-metre jab. Do you do that and try and steer it perfectly, or do you put a bit of oomph into it? But he is a good kick. Should make it.
Let's see which way he goes with it. Kick on the way. He's put some oomph into it. Dermot is right through the middle. Well done. Maxfield kicks the goal. Swans have got number 3.
Week after week, I go into the streets and meet all sorts of very interesting people. If aliens were looking for intelligent life forms, they'd be very disappointed. Yep, I'm in a lot of crazy fans.
But now I'm proud to tell you I've become a true crazy fan myself. And why not? Crazy Johns are the best mobile phone retailers in the country because everyone knows they give the best deals. Crazy Johns are #1 for mobile phones. Call 13 22 99.
Crazy Johns, we love you, mate!
Swans with the breeze, cut the lead back to 20 points. Just over 8 minutes remaining second term. Clark in the ruck against Goods, who's had a rest, takes it out of the air, gets caught, got the handball away. McLeod might get the takeaway. The sting line. Wide ball from his bird. The galloping Gallagher gets there. Kicks around the body to the pocket. Riley calls for it. That's a good mark. Tough angle.
Came from the wing, Dwayne, just ran straight down the middle.
And he pops it towards goal. Oh, that's off the top shelf.
This kid shows a bit of football matter upstairs, doesn't he? I mean, the ball's gone out to the wing, or pushed out to the edge of the square before McLeod won it. He's come from the opposite wing and run straight down the guts of the ground. As soon as they won the ball out there with Laddams on a quick break, he ran into the only space that would present itself into the pocket. The execution is great in the end, but really smart football from a junior.
Very happy with him they are at Westlakes. Riley shown plenty since he's got down there. One down by Clark. Bode and McLeod starting to have an influence. Stripped of it though. Maxfield's having a big influence. Bouncing inside the 50. Bassett and Hall. Bassett really never wanted to possess that ball, and then he just thumped into the fence.
Gives the cameraman a nudge. You're all right, mate.
I don't blame him for not possessing it either. Big Barry behind you.
Oh, come on, cameraman. That would have made one of the great photos, an oncoming player, and just take the hit, the cameraman, to get the photo.
What photo of a nostril?
Free kick. It's going to go Adelaide's way. Matthew Clark with it.
He's not playing well at the moment, Barry.
Handball off to McLeod. Driving ball from that player. It's going to carry the two intended marking players. Stevens, one of them, just landing inside the field of play. Boundary throw in on the outer side.
Runner out to Barry Hall with a few instructions.
Craig Bolton preparing to come back on, or at least thinking about it after having his head repaired. And Barry Hall, in a way, having his head repaired by the runner, who tells him to not get so angry, just keep working at it. Ball in dispute. Goods is there, but the umpire will have to bounce.
Bit of running reprogramming.
Yes, they've been talking to Barry Hall about his last couple of seasons. He's been done for clawing, kneeing, headbutting, striking. They don't want him to get the full set.
But nothing too bad, though.
Ball back in dispute on the wing. And we'll get another bounce.
In the top 5 of players as far as suspended time during your career goes. Funnily enough, another player in the top 5 sitting next to you and me, Dwayne. You wouldn't believe it, would you, if I hadn't brought that up? Bounce of the ball. McLeod at the back of this exchange. Also, Crouch did well. Inside the 50 now, the Swans. Schneider just unable to take it. And it's across the line.
Free
kick. If it was out on the full or Bode awarded, it would make one iota of difference to him. Crows really enjoying this. Swans with the use of the freeze and not making the most of it. High ball to the outer side. Big number of players in that ruck exchange. Goodwin in the end thumped to the deck.
You can see Gary Ayres is very happy that the Swans are playing a 3-man forward line on most occasions, and it means that they're trying to keep it clear, so they push the other forwards, the other 3 or so forwards up to the midfield. And that man there, Gary Ayres, says, well, great. If we can get 15, 20 guys around the ball, we'll maul them. And we'll choke this ball, and if it goes out of the bounds like that, well, that gobbles up time while you're kicking with the wind.
Clark had it going Ablett's way. Luke Ablett, late inclusion today, son of Kevin Ablett. Nephew of the great Gary Ablett. That's taken high. Free kick to Bode. Gets it off to Goodwin. Wheeling around the back, the talented left footer. Long to half forward. Stevens. Terrific mark. The best forward on the ground at the moment.
Goodwin's been a bit down, only 4 possessions for him, but Stevens has been fantastic, as you made call there. 8th possession coming up, and he might be just a little bit too close to the middle of the ground here to get a bit of protection from that pocket where the wind rarely hits. But sure he'll have a dip at it here.
4 marks. Shot on goal from Stevens.
Big kick.
He's kicked 2, and that's number 3. He's a wonderfully talented player, and the Crows...
Look around your world, pretty baby, is it everything you hoped it to be? Is there something wrong and you can't put your finger on it? Right time to roll to me.
Golden Saphira gives you room to move.
Roll to me. Roll to me.
Adelaide Crows led by 27 points at quarter time, and kicking into the breeze in this second term. They've been able to extend it to 32 with under 5 minutes remaining. Williams kick around the body towards half forward by Matthews, coming at it half. Did the hard work, couldn't quite complete it, and we'll get a ball up at half forward for the Sydney Swans.
Just overcooked the kick there. If he had been able to just drop it a little bit shorter to Stevens, he'd have been running into space from about 55 out.
Umpire Coates, McKenzie and Ryan doing a good job so far this afternoon. Bode finds Bassett. A long way down with Barry Hall, the half. Now wide to Tawney. Is it out of bounds on the full? Tawney just got a fingernail to it. Crowd not happy, but they were stuck in that tunnel for a while. So, no doubt they got to this ground a little angry as well.
Yeah, Dave's getting worse. Sit in the tunnel for 3/4 of an hour and then watch your mob get turned over. As they are at the moment, that might be a free kick. Jude Bolton. Handball off. The Swans, can they build something here? Matthews doubling back. Crows have done a very good job of really shutting them down. This is Ablett with the ball.
Now, that was Barry Hall's fault because he was looking up to centre-half forward there as he came into the ground. I think it was the Swans player there, and Barry Hall had his back turned and should have been leading to present.
Ablett goes long in the Knicks direction. Can't find that player. Ball into the deck. Boundary throw-in.
If there's such a thing as getting out of jail while you're 30 points down, they should be getting shellacked here, the Swans. They're dishevelled forward of the centre.
They need to sneak a couple before half-time. Hall in ruck. Clark there as well. Maxfield, if he can get on the end of it, will get it to Williams. Didn't connect with the kick at all. It's a high ball. Nigel Smart gets in front of ball. Dangerous bouncing ball here for Adelaide. The experienced defenders cough it up. Comes back to Kirk. Left foot shot on goal from Kirk. Got it.
Feeling lucky? Play in the Black Rhino Pokey Tournament for your chance to share in 40 grand. It's free and only until April 17 at Sky City, Adelaide.
Swans have 3 more minutes with the breeze in this second term. Clark in the ruck. Against Goods, good bounce. Both got hand to it, Bode. Caught in the tackle by Jude Bolton. And the umpire will be forced to do it again. Ablett having a sit-down, Fosdyke on.
Only 7 possessions to Bode, but he seems to have been a lot more value than that.
Paul Roos there on the screen. Go to the Swans. Edwards takes it out of the ruck contest. Can't break free. Ball knocked on by Hart. Got it to McLeod. Brilliant traveller in traffic to Edwards. Towards full forward. Rashudo thumped away from him. He gets it back again. Screws it around his body. There's none better.
When did you last stop and think about your comprehensive car insurance? Does yours compare with Amy? Amy offers you the security of an agreed value for your car. And we reinstate your rating 1 for life if you've held it for the last 3 years and your insurer takes it away. Amy even offers a free skilled driver's course for your children under 25 if you're insured with us. You can expect more from Amy. Switch now.
Lucky you're with Amy.
So the Crows answer into the breeze. Very clever goal to Mark Rashudo. This is Tyson Edwards. Doesn't he link up beautifully with Andrew McLeod inside the 50. Kick into the ground. Tawney picks it up. 2 in a row on the way for the Crows. Yet just missed.
He was pretty happy with that. Got down there quick.
Well, Andrew McLeod, just every time he touches the ball, something ends up happening. Tawney, I don't think could believe he had the space he had in the end.
Might go down to Mitho. Mitho, is the breeze swinging around a little bit down there now?
Certainly swirling around where there's no protection, Derm, but still favouring the right of screen quite dramatically.
Stuart Maxfield kicks in from fullback. Off hands, 2 minutes remaining. Tackle late and John Cox going nowhere. You get a bounce. Not a massive crowd in here by Sydney Swans standards, but only takes a win or 2 and they do come back. Free kick in the ruck contest. It'll go Adelaide's way. Much to the displeasure of the Swan fans. Clark. Spearing ball inside 50. There he is again.
He leads well, doesn't he? As we called before the game, 34 goals last year and didn't really play full forward that much, but he is a proficient leading full forward when he starts from the goal square. Got a bit of the rinse through.
You steer him in the right direction, Dermot, or?
Oh, there's a fair bit of Hindley Street in that one.
Which end of Hindley Street, Dermot? West or east? There's a big difference.
I don't want to know it all that well.
Okay. Mark Rasciuto, no angle. You can see the probability. Chance to make it 2 late ones from his boot and give the Crows biggest lead of the game. Drop part. He likes it. Straight over the goal umpire's hat.
He's 30.
It's wrong.
She's 20.
It's naughty. It's taboo.
And there's a little question about her maturity. Friends, 7:30 Monday, followed by Malcolm in the Middle on Channel 9.
Monday, anything you say
Don't be frightened. Mama's going to be okay.
will be held against you.
Can you turn on the siren?
Sure. Malcolm following Friends, 8 o'clock Monday on 9.
It's a luxurious place to be in from a Crows match committee point of view, to be able to burn a talented midfielder and send him forward to kick a couple of goals. Bo doing well again. Inside 50, Maxfield.
And the top off, the payoff there is that you take the opposition team's most talented midfield, Maxfield, and he has to play loose man in defence.
Out wide, Williams takes possession. Stevens did well. A chance here for the Swans, broken up by McLeod. Brilliantly done. Absolutely magnificent. He finds Riley on the outer side. These are real blows to the heart of the Swans. Stevens has got it about 35 out.
Well,
tough angle.
This is one of those ones you're watching him and thinking, will he short and pass off? And you know the clock's got 11 seconds and ticking down. He might just hurt himself here, but McLeod just cut that off beautifully.
Stevens has kicked 3. Mentioned already that he's the most impressive forward on the ground. This is an important kick. They're already a long way out, Adelaide. Into the breeze. Mark Stevens. That's fantastic. That is absolutely magnificent. They are the juice. The Adelaide Crows, don't worry about that. He's got 4, and they have a big half-time lead.
Puts them out to a 45-point lead at half-time with his 5th mark in the forward line, his 9th disposal, his 7th kick, and he is on fire like most of his teammates. And that man there who is once again just electrifying the surface here. A 45-point lead to the Adelaide Crows at half-time. 11-8, 74, Sydney 4-5. The aid of the breeze, and incidentally in that second quarter they both went inside their forward 50s on 12 occasions, so good teamwork in the middle of the ground also. But Stevens, one around the corner, he's been on fire.
Certainly has, and he likes it in close. He can take a good grab, and we saw here, that's a tough one to mark. A torpedo low down, and he gripped it like a vice, and he makes sure of his opportunities as well, which is important. If you get it down to your forward, you want to have them make sure that they kick the goals. That's their job. And he has been superb up there for them.
Absolutely. That one, that goal to Bode is the one that would irritate Paul Roos. I mean, he just didn't protect the back of the throw-in zone.
Brent Riley's shot here. I mean, he could have passed off, but he backed himself in.
You don't
he
mind
knew
that.
He had a big enough opening, and he went for it, and he is a good player.
You don't mind that with a young kid who's actually going to back himself in the big league and have a dip at it and succeed. The one bloke who will back himself in on most occasions is Mark Rasciuto, 12 possessions so far, 2 late goals in that second quarter.
They talk about Hurd, they talk about Buckley, they talk about Voss as great leaders of the competition, and maybe the rest of the football world outside of South Australia don't really get to see how good this guy is virtually every week of the year. He is a magnificent player.
Oh, he is, and he's hard at it too. I mean, as a scorer, he's about 5'11", but he's a 14-stoner. He can run and he can lead out of the goal square, so he's a difficult matchup. If he gets his game going, very difficult to place an opponent against. Let's have a look at Sydney. Their goal-scoring package here with the opening to Nick Fosdyke here. Only 4 till half-time, and they did have the breeze in the second quarter, which was, I mean, it should have put more on the board for them, but having said that, you still have to work it, and that, I mean, that is good execution there.
But they've had to work for their goals as well, Sydney. They haven't really been able to conjure any reasonably easy ones. They've mainly been running goals that they've been able to get. Barry Hall hasn't really provided that marking forward to be able to kick long to and have the trust in that he is going to get a goal for you, and that was really just an Adelaide Crow mistake that allowed Kirk to kick that one.
Yeah, just in the right position, though. But in the first quarter, we showed you how Adelaide were entering their forward 50. They went straight down the middle, 1 out of every 2 opportunities. 45% of the time they were going in. And that is the first quarter, and we'll see where they scored them from as well. Pretty well down the centre there and fairly close in. That's the Crows' score track. So we're just having a look at them.
40% of their movement into their 50 in that first term was down the middle corridor, and that changed dramatically in the second term. It was just 8% for Sydney Swans in that second term, so they did not use the breeze down the corridor as well as Adelaide.
A lot of the time they had a 3-man forward line, and there was good coverage from the Adelaide Crows backman, forced them out wide, and Barry Hall was one of those fellows who was, we had a look at him, and he's just getting, I mean, he's not playing all that smart at the moment, and I can read him here. He's actually leading thinking, I don't know if my teammate can hit me with the ball, so I'm going to go out on a 3/4 pace lead. So there's not a lot of movement here. Doesn't read the flight of the ball there. Only read 1 ball through the air well. And that's a better lead. Now, even if he doesn't get used, but on this occasion he does, it's definite. It is hard and it's demanding the ball. He hasn't been doing that, so expect him to, well, Paul Roos to get into his ear during half-time and really give it to him.
And fire him up. So we might see Barry Hall the second come out here after half-time.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back with more highlights after the break. A 45-point lead here to the Adelaide Crows. You're watching Sunday AFL.
He's
It's all going beautifully for the Adelaide Crows at the SCG. A 45-point lead to the Crows at half-time. Well, there's plenty of sport on around the world while we speak. And Augusta, this time of year, the US Masters is in progress. Day 3. Jeff Maggott leads the field with a 66 there in the 3rd round. Mike Weir is 3 under with a 75 last night. BJ Singh, 2 under, and Tiger Woods is still in the mix with a 66. Came back in last night to finish 1 under. And the best of the Australians, Pazza, Craig Parry, a 75, Rob Allenby and Adam Scott, a 74, each to be 7 under. Let's have a look at the highlights from day 3.
Canadian Mike Weir began his round leading the field by 2, and before long he had stretched that to 6.
And Mike Weir taking advantage of a superb second shot.
Usually a trusty putt, Weir began to look shaky and saw his lead quickly evaporate. A bogey on the 9th, not the ideal form to carry into the back 9.
The first one he did not make a positive stroke on.
With Weir faltering, there wasn't a shortage of challenges. Jeff Maggott birdied the 10th. And had his putter working well, moving to 2nd place after birdie to 13, and this monster at 14. Starting 11 strokes from the lead, Tiger Woods was another to make ground quickly. This at the 7th helped him reach red.
So far in his short coaching career, he's been very contained, very tempered, but this would try him.
Ball on the ground. McLeod picked up, thumped into the deck. Barry Hall pushed in the back, free kick. And this sparked something for the Swans and for Barry himself, who's had a quiet first half.
1 behind for Barry Hall. Ooh.
Rhett Bigland's the player that jumps into the back of Barry Hall, and it's probably about the only even weight match-up on the field for Big Barry.
The one thing about Rhett Bigland's jumping in there was no return. He couldn't even put the leg out to stop his momentum moving forward.
So Barry Hall really sparks something here for the Swannies if he can kick this straight. Goes low under the radar, pulls it to the left. Not the desired result.
He is the big man here in Sydney now, Barry Hall, taking over from Lockett as the main full forward. You know you're big. You've made it if your face is on the side of a bus. Unless, of course, you're a bicycle courier. Ball back into play. Nix. Too far out to score. Chips it inboard. Dangerous. Perry's coming at it. Jude Bolton's got it. Interesting tackle. And we'll get a bounce on the wing. Make of that what you will. Ball up. Corny can't break free, and we'll get another bounce.
To the right-hand side of screen. Stevens gets his second opponent. Leo Barry goes to him in the forward line, and also Mark Rasciuto remains at full forward.
Ball back in dispute. The Swans need some work down. Jude Bolton to Maxfield. Hall's on the move. Can he get there? Yes.
Well, the times he has accepted the ball, Barry Hall, he's been on the move in hard fashion. Even though he's a big man, and some big men just prefer to stand there and push and shove and win the ball, he is one difficult customer when he is mobile. Proves it again there.
Yet to kick a goal, Barry Hall, this afternoon. 7 for the season so far. Can he get his first? Drop punt. Not bad. Goal umpire does some work. Barry's on the board. Maybe the Swans on the way back.
Chartered Accountants bring you another great moment. Last year in round 3, Fremantle and Hawthorn faced off at York Park in Tasmania. The contest, a tight one. Until this from young Hawk, Chance Bateman.
Hurried kick, good-looking kick, that's the sealer. What a kick, Chance Bateman.
Delivered with precision by Chartered Accountants. CA, employ our thinking.
Barry Hall with 2 shots on goal in the first 3 minutes, converts one of them. Gives the Swans a glimmer of hope, kicking into the breeze in the third term. Back in the centre, Ball and Biglands. McLeod, as he does so often with the centre clearance. Perry parked at the back. Kennelly did really well. Ball around the body. Swans with some momentum. Thumped forward by Bassett. Crouch picks it up, tries to thread the handball to Hall. Missed its target. This is Tyson Edwards with it. Handball off to Bickley, streaming through the centre. Long ball now for Rasciuto. Got rid of his opponent and did it very, very well.
Well, he's giving away a bit of height, but in power, he is holding sway there against Craig Bolton. There's 2 hands in the chest there. That's what you do bench press for during the week. And it's a pretty simple action in the end. Number 3 coming up.
By the look of those cannons, Dermot is doing a bit of bench pressing, Mark Rasciuto.
She reckons he's eased off a little bit over the years.
Well, he's certainly doing a great job as a pinch forward. 2 wonderful goals into the breeze. And this should be his third. Too many problems for Mark Rasciuto. Right through the middle, the Crows answer.
If you're frustrated with dial-up internet, switch to iPrimus Broadband and enjoy an always-on, frustration-free internet connection.
So after some early momentum for Sydney, Crows put their hand up and stop them again and say, hang on, we had control of this before the break. Ball, tackle, Crouch, wobbly kick, Kirk, Bosdyke. Wide out of the running Kennelly. Hall the target. Bassett's with him. Hall's hands strong. Wants to play on quickly. Too far out to score, even for Barry Hall's strong thigh. Spears the pass to Nix. Good punch away by John Cock. Finds the boundary line.
Sort of look at John Cock, don't you, and you think, yeah, he's an experienced player. It's his second season. He plays like a footballer with 50 to 100 under his belt.
Then a handy addition from Port Lincoln. That's on the ground. And we'll do it all again. This time the central umpire involved. Williams picks himself up. Bolton as well. It's Graham Johncock there. Barry Hall got the handle in there. Ben Hart unable to pick it up. McLeod wrapped up. Someone's lost a boot.
You see McLeod started about 10 metres off that pack defensive side. He'll walk to the left-hand side of screen again. There's the lone boot. And that's because if somebody finds the ball, he can move past with pace. Once he's got some up, no one's going to catch him.
This is Nick Davis around the body. Top of the square, Goods dangerous. Brought to the front well by Bassett. McLeod probably had more time than he realised. Cleared it out of there. But Matthews takes a clever mark.
And Goods has got some room if he wants to lead to the near pocket.
Into the breeze, Ben Matthews, although there is some protection this end of the ground if you get close enough.
Barry Hall's been picked up by Rhett Biglands here, and he probably will be too quick on the lead.
He will be, because it's Rhett Bigland's boot that's missing.
Ah, he's got to turn him.
In short now, Matthews. Goods eventually with it. They worked it well.
Yeah, that was that space out in that pocket, the near pocket. No one really filled it up. And Goods was just a little bit too nimble there. For Bassett.
So Adam Goods, 55% probability, just under the AFL average. 40 out, angle tight, but the breeze a factor, but not for Adam Goods. Excellent result. The Swans clawing their way back.
Tonight's the night. It's monster trucks down under. You can just smell the testosterone. Look at the muscle. Look at the air they're getting. Hang on a minute. Hold it, Rodeo. What the?
The bigger, tougher, all-new V6 Rodeo.
What seems to be the problem?
It's a monster truck.
I love this job.
Swans hoping to do unto others on this Sunday afternoon. Adelaide kept them to just 2 goals with the breeze. Maybe the Swans can do likewise to the Crows here in this third. Riley got it away. Stolen by Perry. Back to Riley. Back again. Stingline. High inside 50. Rashudo waits under it. Brought up clear. Not too clear, though. He's got it again. Craig Bolton. They've got him. Good tackle by Gallagher, and we will get a bounce inside 50 for Adelaide. Go down to Anthony Mithen shortly and find out exactly what he thinks this breeze is worth. Running past him at the moment, Matthew Clark on the boundary line. Biglands has got that boot back on. Slaps it central. Hoping for someone to pounce. Williams does for the Swans. Might seek the boundary. Rashudo again. Will he make something out of nothing? Jude Bolton does. Keeps it alive to Fosdyke. Swans have some room. Maxfield can bounce. Kennelly tells him go. 3 now. Can he go all the way? Goes towards Barry Hall. Now Hall wants it, but there's a free kick back. Now how is that not advantage?
Yeah, no, the umpire, the overseeing umpire has overruled it. You watch Riley.
Well, Riley almost did the right thing there, trying to cause a free.
Yep. Now that is good umpiring because it had no effect on the play, so the action wasn't broken. I mean, it was a legitimate mark. Bassett was not inconvenienced by any form of play there, and Hall was just too good for him with the kick put to position.
Kick 1 this term. Barry Hall drop punt, and he grabs his boys by the scruff of the neck and says, "Come on."
The energy market's getting tough. Things are changing.
We need an edge.
Well, let's look at the options.
When it comes to business thinking, chartered accountants have the superior training and business experience to guide your business in the right direction.
When would you like to start?
Let's start right now.
Stuart Maxfield sitting it out. He's had a big impact on this game and on the Swans' resurgence in this third term, as has Barry Hall's kicked a couple back in the centre. 32 points the margin. McLeod wrapped up in the tackle. Smart eases it forward. This is Tyson Edwards wide with the handball. John Cock inside the 50. Again, Goodwin and Rashudo. Rashudo can't break it up. Ball on the ground, and Stevens. Tawney there as well. Free kick's going to go the Swans' way.
Yeah, Bolton taking the deck after the play had moved away from him. Actually, the Swans' backs haven't been all that bad. They've been overwhelmed on occasions, and the ball's been coming in there a fair bit.
This is Leo Barry now. A bounce. Confident bounce. May even have another one here. Running sideways. Well, not his best kick. Bounce is going to have to suit ball. It does. Around the body he goes.
Not a bad kick.
Just about taken one-handed by Edwards. Coming in hard, Kennelly. Edwards' hands and knees. Now the ball comes back to him on the deck, and there'll be a bounce.
They're alive, the Swannies, at the moment. You just feel they're alive, Mytho.
Certainly do, but Stewie Maxfield actually took himself off, called for the interchange, felt tight in the calves after that run along the wing. That could have an effect.
Some spice in this contest now. The Swans will come home with the breeze in the final term. The ball tried to get a handball out. Can't get much past McLeod. And Crouch sees it out of play in front of the boundary umpire and will get a ball in.
You mainly view Andy McLeod as the bloke who gets the ball on the move, but he's been the best clearance getter on the ground so far. Just keeps winning it in close.
Bickley got it to Smart. High kick. Perry pushed Shawball away. Matthews just misread it. Thought it was in front of him to pick up and rolled between his legs, and we'll get a bounce at half forward flank for Adelaide, and Bode preparing to come back on for the Crows.
Team manager Barry Downs, involved in that footy club for a long time. Free kick. Clark, a little clumsy on ball. Ball a little clumsy by foot. Riley takes the mark, uncontested, in front of his much taller opponent, Goods.
Good lead.
Stevens coming across in front cleverly.
That's the deepness of the wings here. I mean, that is still, he's kicked from wing to just half forward. Good spot up there to Goods, but they're still going wide. But the deepness of the wings caught them out there. The ball's still travelling a lot further through the air. Hall on the lead further afield.
Kick will get to him if it can stay in play. It does. Barry Hall single-handedly lifting his team at the SCG. Kick inside the 50. Bickley gets back, dives to intercept. Did well in the end, Mark Bickley. Across the line, boundary throw-in. Real sense of something here from the Swans. After being very passive in the first half, they've lifted. Running hot, Barry Hall with 5 disposals and a couple of goals.
Just outside attacking 50, and Hall does the ruck work. Gets a knockdown. Williams nicks towards full forward. High ball. Davis the target. Reached out. Couldn't quite grab it. Ball dished off by Crouch for Fosdyke. Did he have it? Ball kicked outside. Defensive 50 by McLeod. McPherson. Matthews spears the ball towards half forward. Jude Bolton dishes off. His teammate under immense pressure. Got it back. Runs inside 50. Finishes it himself.
Easter is the perfect time to get into Bunnings Warehouse and get everything you need for that Easter project. Seagrass doormats, 2 for $3. 6-volt torch and battery, only $6.95. 4-litre British Paints Trademaster, $29. Folding camping chair, just $9.95. And 60-litre storage box, a low $8. We won't be beaten on price. And that's guaranteed.
Bunnings Warehouse!
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
5 scoring shots to 1 into the breeze. The Swans are back. Ball back in the centre. Clark No handle. Bowed forward. Stevens off the shin. Will pick it up again and get a handball on beautifully to Laddam. Standing left foot, shot at goal. Very good. Very, very good from Chris Laddams. Even better from Mark Stevens. And the Crows with a much-needed answer.
It's just important here that the Swans actually don't drop a little bit and think, well, our run's been broken and they've just steadied and converted. As long as they can actually say, look, let's win the quarter. Set ourselves a target of winning the quarter here. I mean, he's munged that in the end, Laddams. He's brought up a few today. I think that's his third goal.
Chris Laddams, a good performer for Adelaide, back in the middle. Crows with the breeze in this third term, if you've just joined us. Quarter now 17 minutes old, 9 remaining. Nix couldn't quite take it away. Crouch caught. Goodwin and Bode made sure he wasn't going anywhere as we go down to Anthony Mithen.
Thanks, Dwayne. Just on the wind, it seems to be gusting. There's a few dark clouds gathering and a bit of pre-storm calm down here. Gusting more so than a consistent breeze favouring the right of screen as we speak.
Bounce, Clark. Sit down, sting line inside 50. Ball to the back, Gallagher. Gathers, caught by his opposite 21. Leo Barry brought him down. Wharf. Wide ball. They might get away with it here. Crouch. Caught though. John Cobb. Tawney. Ball slapped clear of him. Well played by Fosdyke. The crowd showing their appreciation here at the SCG.
Gee, wasn't that good protection for Crouch? The handball coming over his head. He had to run in the same direction as it. You just thought that, hey, this kid's in a bit of trouble here. And good sleight of hand. Watch the ball.
Maxfield back on. See him running into this contest. They need him too. Clark got rid of his direct opponent a little crudely, but no free. John Cock with a long one to Stevens. Just keeps presenting at centre-half forward. Mark Stevens has kicked 4. In short, he'll go. And that's loose checking. Riley can run on and kick the goal. Shot on the way, just misses. Near side of behind.
Breeze pushed that one out. At the other end, he was home.
Bolton having a little spell. Maxfield, the player that came on, will pick the ball up and bring it back in for the Swans.
Jason Saddington off, only 2 possessions today, had his colours lowered to Mark Stevens at centre-half forward, centre-half back.
So Maxfield, they can just hold here, the Swans. They're going to have the breeze in the final term and some semblance of a chance. Wide they go. Wharf couldn't hang on. Picked up by Laddams, kick 3. Short ball from him to Stevens. Knocked up, getting the footy. He'll go in short, back to Riley. A bit of deja vu and all of that. This time a set shot for the youngster. Breeze at his back. Kicked 1 in the second term. Taking his time over it. Kick on the way, ball not spinning too well, but it's got the carry, hits the post. Riley with a couple of behinds. And Gary Ayres with a sip of the drink. Not everything going his way in this third term.
Ty Kennelly entrusted with the kick in for Sydney.
Don't know if that's a good thing.
He hasn't kicked in all day, doesn't normally do the kicking in. He goes with a long pump of the ball. Up flies Wharf. Gathering now Edwards, too far out to score. Slips a handball inboard, looking for Riley. Stover ran it, Edwards goes in again. It's tough at the moment, there's some spice in this game. Fosdyke got it to McPherson, now towards Nix. Good battle between he and John Cock. Williams comes in. Tackles in, not in possession. And the Adelaide Crow will get a free kick at half-back flank.
Well, in the first 2 quarters, Adelaide were just mauling Sydney. They were tackling the ball off them. They were just physically belting them up. Sydney, this quarter, 9 tackles for Adelaide 7. So they've matched them there with the intensity.
Barry Hall all the way down to half-back, having a fist on ball there to help take it out of play. And we'll get a ball in. We are into time on third term. Adelaide Crows lead, but the Swans will come home with that breeze.
Clark works his way to the front. Ball on the ground. Bode claim when he didn't have it will take a free. McPherson not desperately happy about it, but I think it was there. Matthew Bode, the former Port Adelaide on-baller, now making his home at West Lakes and doing a good job of that. Kicks it forward. That's a good mark. Leo Barry, long thumping handball, puts his mate under real pressure. Nick Davis thumped into the turf. Bolton picks it up. He has to be clean with the ball, and is to the outer side.
Shawble's
Ben
away.
Matthews got Shawble on. You heard it from Dermot Brereton, who'll find that player. Acres of room in front of him. Shawble thumps it inside the 50. Got it. This is Schneider. Swans up and running in the third term. This is an important kick.
A little bit of carry there. As Mitho said, it's gusting. See how many players have run under the ball there. Yeah, that's what we had seen into the wind at that end for the first 2 quarters, but big carry over them there.
Adam Schneider's kicked a couple of goals for the season. This is a big kick for him. And he does it very, very well. Swans still in it.
What every family should know about SARS, Tara Brown,
the killer virus,
on the super flu bug that's sweeping the world. And how about this for the ultimate in extreme sports? 60 Minutes, 7:30 tonight. Meg Ryan and Matthew Broderick.
What's your name? Mike. What's your name, Mike? Sam.
In a comedy about 2 people getting off on getting even.
Tonight we're going in.
Addicted to Love, 8:30 tonight on 9.
Goal to Adam Schneider, who grew up with his own football oval in the corner of his parents' property in Osborne. Showing some good skills there to keep the Swans alive. Bounce in the middle, Goods. Knocks the ball down, Jude Bolton lifting. From the set, a wide ball. No one really to kick to. The boundary line will be a good option for both teams. Schneider couldn't quite get there in time, and we will get a ball in.
Paul Williams on the bench there for the Swans, getting a bit of work on the lower back hamstrings.
Third term has been played at a fierce pace. Ball back into play. Goods edged out of the contest. McPherson had it, lost it, converged upon. And the umpire, Mark McKenzie, calls for the Sharon.
They trailed by 45 points at half-time, the Swans, and into the breeze, they've worked that back to 28. It's been a very good result for them. Goods thumps it forward. McLeod in best position, didn't know Schneider was there. Turns around in the tackle, gets the handball away. Ben Hart, low, chiseling ball, a good one too. Henschel couldn't hang on. Goodwin, claimed, legged, holding the ball. Advantage paid. Goods picks it up. His kick smothered by Bickley.
Well,
on the ground,
advantage.
Bickley's going to get it back. Tyson Edwards goes without it. Done that a couple of times. Sydney Swans players crash in. Will have a bounce.
Well, I think the umpire decides that if you decide to play on, then you have taken the option of advantage, and if you mess the kick up, it's your fault.
Is that rule explained? Thank you, Dwayne.
Yeah, but a ruckman took it. Good.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they don't
No
count for
advantage.
thinking.
Clark to Bode. To someone sitting in row 1. Boundary throw in. Adelaide will be thinking as we head into that. Is the gentleman ended up with the Sharon? That's not the match ball behind. It's one the little young Mike brought to the footy himself.
Should have tossed that one back and kept a good one.
Crows will be thinking they need 1 or 2 here before the break. Brought to the front, hard stripped of it by Goods. Short ball from that player finds Stevens. Kick and a half from goal. Further afield, Barry Hall in good shape. Got it.
They're good hands. They are good hands. Finding the footy now, finding his range, and in no way, in no little way, it is at the sheltered end of the ground. The ball is playing more true. It's not carrying or sailing over his head each time he's gone for it. Hey, just put the half pretzel full Nelson on him.
6 marks. Cyril, that was his 7th. Leading goal scorer. Most disposals of any player this quarter, Barry Hall, so that's the impact he's had. And more importantly than all of that, kicked 2 goals. If he threads this one through, the Swans are right back in this game. Kick on the way. He's got it at a left to right. It's not going to make the distance. In the end, almost marked. Swans holding the ball. Ben Hart lying on top of Nix. Nix thought, well, the umpire's going to blow the whistle at some stage. He did, but it wasn't the desired result. So Hart to clear. John Cock in some space in the centre.
That little dirt patch that he's about to kick off has been there for 100 years. They've never repaired it.
Oh, that's where the roller comes out in the cricket season. Bassett at the back. Handball over the top to Tyson Edwards. Crows away.
That's fine, but it ain't cricket season.
Edwards around the body to Bode. Crows away. Bode kicks long. Stevens the target. A little nudge from Barry. Ball still alive. Kick around the body. That would be unbelievable if that was a goal, and it's not. It comes into a rather thick padding here at the SCG, and Laddams gets it behind next to his name. 60 plays 89. Crows have been in relative control from the outset. Short pass Davis to Maxfield. 2 minutes remaining. The Swans wouldn't want to concede one. Adelaide with the breeze for the last minute and a half. Craig Bolton, the ex-Lion, goes long. Saddington flies.
Notice that McLeod's playing a different game this quarter. He's playing almost a kick behind play. And this ball goes over his head. He'll run back with it.
Saddington, whose father played reserves for Richmond, looks for Hall. Can't quite. Bassett was with him all the way. Schneider was half held. Gathered the ball in the end. Bassett, John Cock, Bickley. And they get it away. Clark, wider, Gallagher. Through traffic. Wants to go wider to Edwards. He waited and waited. Finally, Tyson got there. High kick. Saddington waits under it. Takes the mark. Inside a minute remaining. Third term.
Spent some time on the bench and looks like he's been stung by it. Jason Saddington come back on, taking some clever marks. Bolton streaming through. Maxfield it was. Kick to half forward. McPherson did well. Nix on the deck. Stevens. Bickley has also spent some time on the bench. Puts on a crunching tackle and breaks that right up.
Just couldn't hang on to it there. Matthew Nix, he read the ball very well. He saw that it was going to come up the line, jumped early. The hands just coughed it up.
21-9, the mark count in favour of Sydney in this third term. Clark steps his way through. Someone else has lost a boot. Tyson Edwards picks it up, goes with the outside of the boot to half forward. Laddams in front will take the mark. Well done. Handball on the up to McLeod. One last roll of the dice here for the Crows. Stevens comes from the side. Leo Barry did very, very well. And that is siren time, and it ends a wonderful term for the home team. The Swannies have done a great job.
Well, they went in at half-time 45 points down. Well, they've clawed back a goal on that. Now 29 points down. But they have a launching pad for the final quarter, a final assault, led by that man there, Paul Roos. It's the Swans, 9. The Sydney Swans. Paul Roos urging his troops on. 2 other games going on at the moment as we look at Gary Ayres and Krusty Bode. 2 other games happening, and if you don't want to know the scores in those other AFL games, look away now.
Can't you see? Life's easy. You consider things.
Maybe round 3, but there's interest everywhere as Gary Ayres runs off the ground. Let's go down to Anthony Myth in one of the games. Great full forwards, Johnny Longmire.
John Longmire is with us, and they seem up to the challenge, the boys. They were pretty focused then.
Yeah, we had a bit of run that quarter. Certainly looked a lot better. We started to break the lines, and we started to kick a few goals and made a big difference.
Paul seemed to be just imploring a few of the smaller forwards to create something up forward and get you into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was good that Hawley started to take a few marks that quarter, but we need a few crummers now, and especially when Jason Ball goes forward to hit those packs and kick goals.
Wind's still a bit of a factor too, isn't it?
Yeah, still a little bit of a factor. I don't think it's as big as advantage as what it was the first quarter, but we just need to keep the balls low into the wind.
Good on you. Thanks, John.
Near enough if they're good enough, I think is the sentence for the Swans. 5 goals into the breeze, and that third term has given them a real sniff. Adelaide still out by 29 points. John Longmire, what a terrific forward he was for the North Melbourne Football Club through the 90s. Ball back in the centre to get us underway in this final term. Clark gets it to Stingline, stripped of the ball. Important opening minutes. Hall edged into it. Bassett hacked out of the air, but it's going to suit the Swans, and Kennelly steps around a couple. Drop punt inside the 50. Goods one out with Smart. Ball carries both of them on the deck across the line. Boundary throwing.
They're just... I know they've got the ball out of the centre this time, but the Swans in the centre bounce are just looking for that little give handball to get somebody into pure space so they can deliver nicely. Just get it going. Just win it out of the centre, because if you don't, Adelaide will. They'll claw every inch they can get.
Dump to the hot spot. This is picked up by Goods. Gets a handball away. Fosdyke, a high ball. Try marking that. Clark will. No, he goes with a fist. The boundary line is where he was headed. And the ball goes across.
Nice call from...
Was that Johnny Beckler?
Yeah, from yesteryear. Hit the boundary line.
They know their football up here in Sydney. They didn't once upon a time, but they're enjoying this. Swans with the breeze. Hall knocks down McLeod. Not too sure who that was to, but the boundary umpire will take it, and we'll get another ball in.
One of the other great calls from yesteryear was Alan Jeans. He used to advise the backman. He said, the boundary line is your friend. Seek him out.
Ball back into play. Clark. Bode. Caught in the tackle by Nix. And we'll get a ball up.
They've matched them, haven't they, with intensity since half-time. Yeah, conversion once they go inside forward 50 has been better also for the Swans.
Third bounce in a space of about a minute and a half, and Hall knocks the ball out of play, and we'll get a ball in. So
what they have to do is get the ball travelling back behind them. The ruckman, if Barry Hall gets to it first, he's got to flick it back into the centre. The way that Bode kicked a goal in the first quarter. Where McLeod is at the moment, though.
Hall gets palm on ball. Almost knocked it back to Hall. Kicked half smothered. Stingline. After Schneider's kicked. It's floating on the breeze. Goods. Smart. Front spot. Read it well. Took a safe grab.
Actually pushed him into it in the end, didn't he? This is Andrew McLeod streaming away. He goes with the long drop punt. Great body work there.
No, that's wrong. That is wrong, guys. That was good body play. He held his ground. He let a little nudge body play there. Maybe the ball might have been a bit too far away there.
Laddams kick forward. Swans starting to do everything better. Shawble sideways. Bolton now to create from the back. Got the breeze. Handball. Maxfield doing some hard running. Will end up with it. Left foot delivery to half forward. Barry Hall to fly from the back. Hands never got anywhere near it. Bouncing well for Tawney. He doubles back. Swings around. Fosdyke got 2 to beat. Boundary line there as well.
Sydney Swans, 5 goals from the lead, kicking with about a 3-goal breeze.
Here's the one that's important, the clearances. And as I said, not big stats for Krusty Bode, but 7 clearances. Bolton's been good, Bickley 4, Williams 4 also, and Clark, that takes him up to 4.
He gathered the short throw-in. Found Hart, runs the full 15, spears the pass on the lead. Shell!
Good pick. I mean, that is a class delivery there.
Late inclusion, Daniel Shell with Ken McGregor's withdrawal. You can see him, Seashell here, Hart, on the lead, and puts it on his chest.
Go on, say it 3 times.
Glad it wasn't Henschel that gave it to him. Henschel on the bench at the moment. Important kick this, into the breeze. Put a halt to the Sydney run. Drop punt, not bad off the boot, swinging. And it swings across the face, only a behind.
Now, Paul Williams is going down to take the kick in, and Shell is going to pull forward to guard it. You know that 7 times out of 10, Williams likes to tap it on his foot and play on. Shell is reasonably quick, but Williams, you'd think, could step in.
That's what he attempts to do. And he goes in short to Maxfield.
How much are we paying you, Dermot?
Not enough. I'm about to say, whatever it is, not enough. Stewie Maxfield.
I'm very happy.
Short he goes to Shawble
with the pittance.
That's a shocker. Just kicks it straight off the side of the boot to Goodwin. Can find Tawney if he can step out of the tackle. He's claimed in a good tackle himself. Matthews around the body.
His hands have been poor today, Ben Matthews. He's normally pretty safe.
Ball in short. They've got the runners now. Kennelly. The handball off to Fosdyke. This is Maxfield on the 50. Long thumping handball. The Swans. Can they get the first goal of the final term? They have.
They're on here. They're 4 goals down now, the Swannies, and one of the great things about being at the SCG, playing or watching, especially if you're playing, you can score so quickly here because the ball from your own defensive 50 to a scoring shot at the other end is seconds away at any stage. As long as you play direct, 4 goals down, game on.
Only 6 minutes elapsed in this final term, and the Swans are coming. Ball in the ruck against Clark. Clark hands on it, perfect time to McLeod, but he was pounced on. Bode got it out. No one can break free. The ball was toe poked back into the pack, and Jude Bolton on the bottom of that pack. Give it back to the umpire. Wolf warming up, and
Sydney playing 7 defenders, left-hand side of the screen, so Adelaide send one of theirs from the other end to match him up. They don't want a loose man.
Clark down to McLeod, stolen by Fosdyke. Swans to half forward. Ball bounces unkindly for Davis, kindly for Bassett. Tries to find the boundary line. Crows have the numbers there, and they'll be happy with it to go to the boundary line. They'll be heading the long way, the Crows. As the Crows fly, it won't be direct in this final term against the breeze.
Bassett was allowed to run to the ball by himself, and Barry Hall's just got to go with him. Even if you think you're going to be second, there's an easy giveaway there.
Barry a little crude on Matthew Clark. And at half-back, he'll relieve some pressure for the Crows. Goodwin worked under the ball. Stevens bounced off his leg. Williams, looping handball to Matthews, claimed in the Bode tackle. Ball, head over it. Oh, well done, Goodwin. Did terrifically well. Left foot kick inside the 50. Rashudo, the skipper, on a lead. He's stripped of it by Bolton, and he turns it over.
Bad luck, son. Did everything right, didn't he? Getting a good look at the forward setup from here now. And that's a great view. You just watch the movement.
Long from Bode.
Oh, big pack.
A number of players here. No one can take the mark. Bolton will get a second crack at mopping up. This time he goes by hand over the top. Crouch, bouncing ball. Could work for Kennelly, the speedster. Did really well. Got a fist in there to Barry Hall. Will get it back, Kennelly. Closing in on the 50. Has a bounce. Takes his player on and kicks the goal.
And for Ty Kennelly, the Swans flags go up and the Irish tricolour goes up down that into the ground as well. That was great play because he read it. Once again, you just dislike the fact, I mean, that ball is always going to go 100 metres with the end over end. Barry Hall allowed Bassett to run at it. At least Barry decided to give the action there. He didn't really lay a shepherd, but he sort of looked mean in the meantime. And a good get in the end.
Those Irish eyes are smiling. This was a great goal. Ty Kennelly.
That's a disposal, that knock-on. It won't go down as one, but it's as good as a handball. Created the goal.
It's the closest the margin has been since the 28-minute mark of the opening term. The Swans with the breeze. 3 goals from the lead. Ball up against Clark. And they get the takeaway. Bassett caught. Stengline caught. Williams the takeaway. Rolls it to half forward. Davison, Hart. Hart wins out. Davis makes it difficult for him. Toe poke. Schneider. Boundary line. Keeps it alive still. Oh, he took it out. And that was...
You notice
with a touchdown.
He did. He just took it over. You notice now the Swans are less particular how they get the ball out of the centre. They were trying to be very pedantic and very precise, and they were just being tackled to the ball. Now they're just getting it going, and it's working for them.
Williams. Bolton. No clearance on this occasion.
Now, Barry Hall has gone to the ball here, and Bassett stands 20 metres back. See, directly behind the pack, that is Bassett standing next to Nix. Nix's opponent, John Cock, just walks out a screen to the left, so Nix places himself halfway between so he can get to both of them.
Picked up by McLeod.
And
gets around Nick Davis. Does it beautifully, the champ. Has a bounce. Left foot kick. Bouncing ball. The Swans' defence set a task. They do it well. Bolton in front. Good mark.
Good stretch.
The Sydney crowd getting really involved in this game now.
Get up quick because Barry Hall's got a one out. Too slow.
Look to the centre and ball.
He can go to ball now.
Matthews will go to ball now.
Now they're on.
Fosdyke further afield if he wants him, he does. Can go on with it if he likes.
Step in.
Steps in, gets around Bassett. Left foot shot if it's got the carry. Goods over the back, Nix. Well done.
He went the wrong way, Fosdyke, didn't he? He had to make out he was going onto the left the first time and step back inboard.
Hart entrusted with the kick in. The old reliables stay together.
They'll go the length here.
Now a wide ball. Looping handle by Crowell. Spent most of the game on the bench. Gallagher short. Well worked. Stengline pushes off. Riley. John Cock. Jude Bolton cuts it off. Gets caught. Williams caught by Riley. Gets a free. The Swans have some loose men. Kennelly is one. He couldn't do it again, surely.
Not against this bloke.
Not against McLeod, and he kicks a beautiful pass.
They're alive, though, Dwayne. There's a lot of excitement.
Nick Davis, inboard, sees the lead from Goods. Oh, the Goods train, all the way from full forward with a full head of steam. Took it on his chest, and he will kick a goal from just inside 50.
For the first time today, in this quarter, the Swans have been moving the ball with urgency. Hence, a forward can read play that is in motion and travelling quick.
12 minutes on the clock, final term, and Goods misses across the face. Only a behind. Exactly halfway through this final term, 12 gone, 12 to come.
Oh, that hurts. That was an important kick. Nathan Bassett to bring it back in. Favours the outer side. Clark's out there, brings it to his feet, and Bode read it beautifully. Just thumps it on the boot. Bouncing ball. Schauble there with Stevens. Who's going to be favoured here? Kennelly can pick it up. Has had a big final term. Toad Kennelly. Crunching tackle. Matthews head over it. He's claimed in the Bickley tackle. Oh, bounce. 50 out.
That was lucky there for the Swans. Just, you need those sure hands. When the ball's below your knees and there's an oncoming player from the opposition, you need sure hands there. Gary has got to work out something here because the Swans through Kennelly, especially at this side of the ground, are running right.
Tyson Edwards in some space. Doesn't possess it. Now he does. Left foot massaging kick is good. Gallagher, too far out to score.
Space for Rashudo ahead.
Good ones there as well. Got two to beat. In the end, Bolton took a clever mark.
Craig Bolton wide to Williams. The ex-Magpie.
Finding a lot of space.
Made a nice nest for himself up here in Sydney.
Oh, it's a good kick.
Davis, another ex-Magpie, gets a shove. Gets a free.
On the lead, you want the kick to aim at your knees, because if you dive forward, the only thing the backman can do is cave you in.
Well, Davis's father, Craig, is the director of umpiring up here with the New South Wales AFL, so you've got to get a few of those free sometimes. Fosdyke, long kick, Hall under it. Well played, Bassett, knocked it down to Nix. Can he screw it around? He can't. Out of play on the full. Free kick, Adelaide, back pocket.
They've got to make sure that they don't allow Adelaide to go across goals here, because they've got a lot of pace out on the other side of the ground. And if they do get it into space, they'll get it up the other end very quickly.
John Cock elects to play on. A couple of bounces.
They're going to go it.
He wants Davis to come at him. Eventually he does. And that clears Ben Hart, who has a bounce himself, can have a couple more if he likes. Goes by foot to Stevens, just cutting it off. Kennelly.
He's
What
having
a big 5 minutes he's had.
He's having a game in this last quarter. I mean, he's getting a few stats, not monster stats. It's 7 now. It's almost monster stats in the time allotted, but just his work ethic and his work rate is fantastic.
So a big part of the game right now. Taj Kennelly sucking it in. Ball down to Bode. Bode got it to half forward. Laddam's been quiet since dominating early. Swans turn it over again. There's the urgency. Looping handball to McPherson in the centre. Running forward, has a bounce. Look out, McLeod's coming. On the ground, Ben Hart, full-chested. Davis there as well, pushing the back. Nick Davis picks himself up.
This bloke will get the journey here.
Crowell, the infringing player.
Oh, like Bigland's on Hall in the third quarter. Nick Davis, not a big man, but he's a monster kick.
The Brawongle stand behind Nick Davis over his right shoulder. If he threads this one through, they'll bring the stand down. And this will get the Swannies right back in it. Drop punt on the way. Got the carry, hit the post.
Though that one died on the end of its trajectory there, is the breeze dropped completely now, or is it still favouring that end?
Still favouring that end, Derm. Just gusting, as I said earlier, and Gus wasn't behind that one at all.
Bassett's well-measured kick finds Hart. Takes some time. As the Crows will want to do if they go to stop the Swans run, and this breeze here at the SCG has dropped a little. Clark's mark.
Doesn't do that enough for a big man, but that is a good grab there.
Stevens takes the mark at half forward. The leads come from the square. Stevens takes some time. Says, I'll pump it long. High kick. Saddington, front spot. Optimum position, takes the mark. Swans are away on the open side of the ground. Maxfield, a couple of bounces. Fosdyke the target. Riley is with him. Good mark, Fosdyke.
Paul's got to come up. Oh, no, he's bludging.
Long kick. Paul doesn't bludge for too long, do it. Gets there. Caught. Had to really work in the end. Bassett. Good contest. Toe pokes it. Riley waiting under it on the wing.
He just read it too late.
Nathan Bassett did really well. Rashudo just hasn't had the opportunities in the second half. Thumping drop punt inside the 50. Again, Bolton with a very good mark. Simon Goodwin hasn't been his best day.
He's good, this kid.
Hasn't had too many bad ones, Goodwin, but today hasn't been as productive. Goods thumps it down the line. Bouncing ball, 2 to beat. Nix.
Take it out.
We'll be happy to see it out, I imagine. John Cock with him, Nigel Smart in the vicinity. Boundary throw-in.
There's a few boys out there doubled up and sucking in the big ones at the moment.
7.5 minutes to go.
Watch the power of Rashudo at the takeaway here.
7 disposals for Fosdyke, who's been very good. They can just sneak one here, the Swans. With a really lively light in this game right up. High ball. Barry Hall. Bassett did well. Edged his opponent away from it. Across the line. Swans thought he was infringed. The umpire made the right call. Barry certainly not doing any arguing. Boundary throw-in.
Sometimes you try for those as a full forward. Maybe now's not the time to. Hall knocks down Clark. Boundary line, Nix. Rides the bump, tries to steal a free from the umpire. But umpire Sean Ryan equal to the task. Ball in.
Counted them in this boundary line throw-in. There is a 5-on-9 here in favour of Adelaide. So if they get a shot away here, the Swannies, they've done well.
Nick Davis, McPherson and McLeod got the toe poke. Ricocheted off shins, back pocket steal. Riley, Fosdyke with him, lets him run out. Umpire says deliberate. Fosdyke from the pocket Look at this. Make your own decision.
It's a tough call.
Osdyke tucked up against the fence.
Kick the goal, son. Just look at the goals now. Adelaide will guard their man too well. Take it on yourself.
South Australian runs around, drop punt off the side of the boot, goal square, danger area, and it's through for another behind. We are just ticking into time on final term, 6 1/4 minutes remaining. 90 plays 76.
The Crows have just 2 second-half goals after kicking 11 in the first half. That shows you the dominance of the Swans since half-time. They really have played particularly well. Tyson Edwards. Adelaide are going to lean on their experienced players, and this man with the ball is one of them. Called to go now. High to half-forward. Perry to fly from behind. No one touches it. Stevens, the bolo slap on. Laddams, did he keep it in? No. Boundary throw in, but it's the right end of the ground for Adelaide. Sydney need it quickly up the other end. Clark and Goods. Goods the big fly. Got it down to Laddams. Over the top to Goodwin. Around the body he goes to the hot spot. Perry in best position. Bode flew as well. Perry picks it up. Can't get the handball off. Bode. Tyson Edwards. Goal.
Some people see me as debonair, a bon vivant, a sophisticated man about town. But there's another player who fits that category. Crazy John. Like me, he's been around a while and has plenty of experience where mobile phones are concerned. You get the best deal with Crazy John's. He's Australia's best mobile phone retailer. I'm with Crazy. So if you need a mobile, remember, Crazy John's for mobile phones. Call 13 22 99.
Crazy Johns, we love you, mate.
Tyson Edwards, equal highest goal kicker of the year for the Crows so far. Paul Roos on screen. Surely he hasn't given up. Blood rule. 3 goals from the lead, Sydney. 22 minutes played. Goodwin coming off. And Tawney replacing him.
Good move that too, Dwayne, with Tyson Edwards kicking that goal. I mean, he's such an experienced and clever play.
Leighton Hewitt on the phone, talking a few through the Adelaide Crows predicament at the moment. Stephen Trigg next to him, was it?
The Crows CEO, yep.
Straight through to Ayresy, I reckon. He'd be able to get through too. Yeah, but look, Tyson Edwards was able to make Ty Connelly accountable there.
Game still alive. Bounce. Goods and Clark. Who got the important takeaway? Goods might. Handball smothered though. Gallagher played for the free. Ball comes clear. Laddams runs to 55. He can seal it. Misses. Only a behind. But that makes it an even 4 goals it'll take to put them in the lead.
Stewie Maxfield the kick in. Now all his teammates are at least 40 metres away. Now he's got to go long.
It's exactly what he does. Saddington to fly. Thumped away from him. Laddams, who's had some important ball in this final term, draws a free kick.
Now it's got to be scrambling here for the Swans because there was a lot of Crows left in their zone. They'll be one out.
Pump it long, but Clark comes across the front. Unable to take a mark. He probably should have taken. Good strips it out of there. High ball. Tawney parked under it. Read it best in the air and on the ground. Wheels around. Free kick off the ball. Down the ground. Edwards over the top. Gallagher. Almost like a training drill, that last bit.
He's corked his thigh here, Paul Williams. Put the elbow up into the back of Stengline's head when he shepherded in. And it wasn't a nice action, but he's corked his thigh.
The end result of it all, Gallagher has the ball.
Watch this. Right forearm. And a hit onto the thigh.
So, with 4 minutes left, Gallagher can ice this game for the Adelaide Crows.
Head trainer Wally there helping off Willow. Wally and Willow.
Kick on the way. It's swinging back. It's there. They've got it. Adelaide Crows are going to take their second game of the year.
lucky? Play in the Black Rhino Pokey Tournament for your chance to share in 40 grand. It's free and only until April 17 at Sky City, Adelaide.
Crows did lead by 45 points at one stage. Swans came back hard after Crows now have it sealed after disappointing loss to the Saints last week. Stenglein hoping to finish it off in style. Ball towards half forward. Kennelly can't get the handball away, does now. High kick by Matthews wide. Nix waits under it. Boundary line, and the urgency has gone. We'll get a ball in.
They found a player in Kennelly, the Swans.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
Covers the ground beautifully.
Uses it well, too, for a player that's just been introduced to the game in the last couple of years. Boundary throw-in. Clark got a hand on it. Bode's also been very good. Bickley, tough and in close as he likes it. John Cock. Bounce almost got away from him. Streaming towards half forward, over the top. Tawney in more space than he knew. High kick from him. They can raffle it here. In the end, Nix did well. Got a hand in there and broke it up. Simon Goodwin coming on the ground for Chris Laddams. And a little stretch and a bit of a cramp, perhaps for Graham Johncock as he looks around for the trainer. Clean possession for Adam Goods. Some tired players now. That ball's back across the line again. So the Swans, just one win from 3 games. That was the first round, a big win too against the Blues. Adelaide, after a Wizard Cup victory, is going to take their second win of the year. Claimed high, Goodwin, no free. Clearing kick, McLeod will run onto it. Just tapped it back with ease to Mark Bickley, 2-time premiership skipper. His kick, fortuitously, finds Stevens. Kick 4. Thumping ball from that player to the top of the square. Coming back, Perry just couldn't complete the mark. On the ground, he may get it back. Instead of that, it's across the line, boundary throw-in. Rhett Biglands prepares to relieve Matthew Clark. Final stages of this final term.
Back into play. Clark doing the ruck work. Knocks down. Bode tried to get it out. Goodwin was waiting for it. And we'll get another bounce. Perry slowly getting to his feet. Swans just let it go early and couldn't peg it back. Goods and Clark. More bounces unkindly for Goods. Clark to Bode. Caught a little bit high. Craig Bolton. High kick towards the midfield. Crowell dumps it clear of Schneider. Ball alive again. With handball out, Schneider. Ablett finally got it out. Kennelly gets on the end of it from Crouch. Long kick. Barry Hall can't take the mark. Smart has been superb again this afternoon. Rolls a handball in the direction of Riley. He's a spent man. Gallagher back to Smart running on. The second possession in this string. Wide to Tawney. And the ball dumped away by Tawney. Happy to see it out of play with 2 Swans to beat. And we'll get a ball in. Jude Bolton has fought it to the finish. With just under 2 minutes remaining. And 4 points well and truly in Adelaide's safekeeping.
The Crows lost Kane Johnson in the swap for Tawney, but he's been a good player for them in his first 3 outings in the tricolours. Swans to half forward. Smart edges ball under it. Ball did well to get back on that contest. Nathan Bassett. Looping handball to Ben Hart. Prosciutto involved. They work it around the outer side, broken up. That's Ablett. This is ball now, just outside the 50. Maxfield, his kick will end up inside the 50. Bouncing dangerously. Hart, cool as he has been throughout his wonderful career. Got it to Smart and now Bassett.
He's been great, Nathan Bassett.
Bickley's been good too. He goes sideways. Gallagher's now got it. Tawney and Bolton. Ball across the line. Inside the last minute. The players now, Dermot, just thinking about the shower and lollies and...
It's a strange feeling you get right about now, and Dwayne will tell you that the midfielders are thinking about taking it nice and easy, the forwards are thinking, I might pinch 1 or 2 goals here just to pump up the stats.
Yes, make it look a little more attractive. Kennelly, Ablett, and the players like Ablett are hoping to get a couple of possessions to stay in the team. Long kick, he was a late inclusion. No, Lachlan pulled out. Bassett, half court, done okay on Hall in the end, Bassett. McLeod to Smart to Stengline at half back. I'll be almost happy to get away with it without any more injuries.
They're going to finish the Swans with young Stevens on, for the Swans, on Stevens for Adelaide. So just giving him 5-10 minutes, knowing what it's like to run around as a centre-half forward.
McLeod found Tawney, who, as James Brayshaw said, has settled nicely at his new club after 118 games for Richmond. And he finds Gallagher.
Just waiting for Dermot to tell us what the defenders think in the last minute.
Oh, I don't think he'd know.
They don't really want to give away anything, do they?
But most of them wanted to hear that because the contest was over about 5 minutes ago. And the Adelaide Crows, after a loss to the Saints last week, are back. Paul Williams, one of the injured party, had a good victory in the end to Adelaide. They opened up a massive 45-point lead at one stage. The Sydney Swans got within 3 goals with the breeze in the final term, but the Adelaide Crows closed it out in comfortable style. Players just shaking hands and having a chat about.
Yeah, another good day for Andy McLeod. Not big stats for him.
And Anthony Mithun is about to grab us one of the victorious Adelaide Crow players to have a chat about this victory. And some players for the Sydney Swans just weren't there. But one of them that was, Ben Hart.
Congratulations, Ben. It was a solid win. They came hard there in the end.
Yeah, it was a good hard-fought win. I think we had to get on track after last week, disappointing. But we knew they were going to come out hard, especially after half-time. And to their credit, it was just a bit of a fight at the end, and we're just happy to get away with it.
How tricky were the conditions? Because it seemed to be a bit fluky, that breeze, certainly favouring the hill stand into the ground.
Yeah, it was a bit fluky. Kicking into it, occasionally the ball would drop short, but then, funny enough, every now and again it'd carry. So it was a bit tricky, but the boys stuck at it and had a good win.
You set yourself up nicely now, 2-1. You're in the luxurious position of having Wayne Carey come in and almost play a cameo when he's up and running. And Ronnie Burns, the other star recruit, can't even get a game in your side.
Yeah, well, we had a couple of new players in today, who performed well. And you're right, we've had a few injuries the last couple of weeks. So if we can get them up and running, it all bodes well for us.
Stalwart in defence, well done today. Congratulations, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks, Smitho. 27-point win here to the Adelaide Crows on the road. 15-13, 103. Defeated the Sydney Swans 11-10, 76.